Armstrong Show. Get robbed. Only on
The Fan Upstate.
I ain't mad at it. Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit am I mad at it. I know who might be mad at it. I know some folks out there rolling around the beautiful upstate of South Carolina wearing purple and orange. They're a little upset. They're a little upset this morning. And I know some folks rolling around the beautiful upstate of South Carolina wearing garnet and black that are pretty damn jacked up right now, including, I just opened the text line. It's the first thing I do when I get into the studio is open up the text line and see, I like to scroll back. All right, what did Diesel and Cole get into yesterday or over the weekend? Because every now and there's a few of y'all, and I encourage this, by the way, there's a few of y'all that'll send the unprompted text to the text line when nobody's on the air. I'll come in here on a Monday morning, and I will open up the text line, and I will see that somebody sent a text Saturday night at 2:15 a.m. with probably a little bit of liquid encouragement. I'll pop in here every now and then and see that some of y'all are hyped to get talking sports. And I love it. I love it. There's nothing better. So I pop in here this morning and I get everything set up and ready to go. And I open up the text line a couple of minutes before the show starts. And what do I see but a text that we got 10 minutes before the show started? 10 minutes at 5:50 a.m., a text that said, start the show with 2001 Space Odyssey. Let's get it, mother Gamecocks. Hey, I'll cut that part out later. Post-edit. Post-production. What you want me to say? I asked for you to keep it competitive. And I'm a little disappointed, Lonzo, because the Gamecocks didn't keep it competitive. They blew that Aggie ass up out the water in the second half. 24-0. 24-0 in the back half of that game. I got nothing for the Gamecocks this morning, but just a round of applause. I'm going to say this. Zoe, agree or disagree? Clemson and South Carolina both had program-defining results this weekend. Program-defining. Paradigm-shifting results this weekend. Not the same direction.
No. I get where you're going. I want to get hyped and excited. I am hyped and excited about the South Carolina win, but let's see it next week. I mean, they've been building to this. That's my line. They finished. I've been saying that. They found a way to finish, and boy, did they finish. It was great. It really was. But there's still a lot of season left ahead. I want to see that every week. Well, I don't want that to be like a one-shot deal. I mean, they've been building to this, and now they're there. Don't regress.
I mean, in fairness, let's keep it a buck here. This weekend, they are up against the upper crust of the Southeastern Conference. This weekend, they got to go on the road. It is a clash of the Titans this week when two of the most upward trajectory facing programs in the Southeastern Conference, the battle of battles, a war between two programs that are right now changing the landscape of college football, just like we all said preseason. The eyes of the nation will be turned to Nashville, Tennessee, when the Gamecocks and the Commodores do battle. And here's the best part about this, Lonzo. What I'm doing right now ain't sarcasm.
Oh, no, not at all. And that's the thing. You can't look past that next game. You can't say this was a monumental win, except for maybe for Shane Beamer it was. It's not in the history of of South Carolina football. But still, it was a great victory, absolutely. But you can't let anything down for next week. Normally you could. You can't do that this week. You can't do that this year.
Something that Shane Beamer is about to learn is something that I think the Clemson fans are going to have to mentally reckon with today. When you raise standards, it hurts when those standards come down. When you raise standards, especially when you raise standards to excellence, it hurts when those standards aren't met. And here's the thing. Standards get raised and the expectations raise with them. Expectations raise and failure to meet those expectations, they don't come down quickly. They don't suddenly fall off. On the flip side, when expectations are not met, the demise of the entity in question, that comes rapidly. That comes quick. It takes a long time to refine the gunpowder to make dynamite. It takes no time at all for that dynamite to explode. None. And I think that's where we are. The South Carolina Gamecocks, and I am going to go on the record and say right now, I look like a little bit of a jackass because I go back to that loss against Ole Miss and I go, I don't know if this is it. I don't know if this is it. It's undisciplined. It's disorganized. The play calling is hot garbage. Lonzo looked me dead in my stupid dead eyes and said, bro, they had a bad game. And I said, whoa. It's one thing to have a bad game and you don't execute and you don't play and you don't lead. It's another thing to go out there and get it handed to you and not know how to react. And this is a mental failure. This is an emotional failure. And since then, all they did was go to Alabama and coulda, shoulda, woulda won that football game. But they went into a house where they were, what was the line on that game? Like minus 17? I mean, they were damn near 3 touchdown dogs in that game, and they went in there and should have won that game. Should have won that game. Couple of oopsie daisies down the stretch, couple of mind farts at the end of that game, but they were right there in it. Coulda, shoulda, woulda. And then they go out to Norman, Oklahoma, where the Oklahoma Boomer Sooners are fighting for their lives in that moment, and they beat the brakes off of Oklahoma. And I said, what? Keep it consistent. Show it to me again. You got the Ags coming to the house. And I even said last week, I don't expect you to win this game. I don't expect you to win this game. It's a top 10 team. This is one of the most physical teams in college football. This is what Texas A&M has wanted to be for years and years. And under Mike Elko, they're one of the most physically disciplined football teams. I don't expect you to win this game. I'd like you to make it competitive. Show me that you are ready to get into a fist fight with one of the best teams in the Southeastern Conference. And all they did was welcome the Ags into Willie B and then show them the door right the hell back out.
What do those yell leaders do after a beat down like that?
I'm assuming.
Do they cry?
They probably all go into the locker room, turn out the lights, turn on some Enya, and then just like rock back and forth, thinking of how good of a girl Reveille is. She's the best girl. She's a sweet dog. She's a sweet dog. I met Reveille whatever Reveille they were on at that point. She's a sweet dog. Real good dog. Good
okay, because I didn't know really who Reveille was in the context. I'm trying to think. Is that one of their girlfriends?
That's their little Lassie dog.
Okay.
They got that little Lassie dog on the sideline. That's their
All right.
little Lassie dog's Reveille. And she's a sweet dog. She's a sweet dog. Good girl. See, in fact, I would say Reveille, the only redeeming quality of the Texas A&M Aggies. By the way, anybody... any of y'all go watch yell practice? I'm going to tell you right now. I have, away from the radio station, of course, I have some relatively strong political opinions. Some of you may agree with me. Some of you may not, and that's okay. I'll give you one right now. I vote Lonzo to the House of Representatives, to the state, to the governor's mansion. I vote the next politician that says number one on my platform. The Texas A&M Aggies will never get permission to do yell practice on the steps of the State House ever again. Y'all, I was ready to get in my car and take my ass over to Columbia and start handing some smoke out to these dork-ass losers on the steps of the State House. By the way, any Aggie fans who happen to be listening and are leaving town, thanks for coming and spending your money here in lovely South Carolina. It was just absolutely fantastic to hear you. Lonzo, I would like, if you don't mind, because I've had some texts the last couple of weeks leading up to this game, because I've talked about it a lot. I don't know if I've made this clear to all of you. I don't like Texas A&M. Their fans are weirdos. All right, their fans are weirdos. Zoe, have you gotten to hear the wonderful, wonderful yell practice video that went around?
No, I saw it posted, and I'm like, I'm not listening to that crap.
Oh, good. You are now. Ladies and gentlemen, this is their pep rally. This is at midnight on the steps of your State House, South Carolina. This is your house. And the Aggies on Friday night at midnight trotted out their dork little yell leaders in their dork little painted up overalls and their too tight jerseys underneath. And I'm going to just give you just a little taste of what the Aggies sound like.
Out of all the mascots in college football, South Carolina chose a glorified chicken. Backing that must be really hard, especially if you're their O-line, which is just honestly just an embarrassment to their program. Because right now, they're the second worst out of 134 teams in Division I football for sacks given up on a play. I mean, it's basically a red carpet laid out for our Wrecking Crew defense. That's going to be a field day tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm so excited to play football, you guys. I'm so hyped up right now. Somebody give me a helmet. I'm ready to go, guys.
I'm disappointed because
That's their hype thing, dude.
No. I've heard them in the past, and maybe it's just this guy. I mean, where's the fire? Where's the passion?
That's it. I've been to 2 of these and I've watched a million. That is it. That's what they do. That is their pregame night before at midnight. If your fans at midnight are that, I hope you lose every game for eternity.
Is there a teleprompter?
No, they script out these dork-ass little speeches.
Okay, all right, and they memorize them?
I guess.
Okay, all right, okay.
They do that. Zoe, listen. I need you to color commentate because I need to show you what these dorks look like. This is what these guys do. All right?
Okay. All right. You're actually going to stand. Yes. All right. Rob is going to stand up.
This is why you come to the stream, people. Yes. Facebook.com/The Fan Upstate, YouTube, The Fan Upstate, The Rob Brown Show on Twitch, Twitter, or YouTube, because dramatic acting can occur. This is them, Lonzo. I'm not kidding you. They get up and the guy gets the mic and he holds it like this. And he walks like this.
All right, so he's holding with the mic down, the bottom of the mic up, and he is now marching.
A glorified chicken out here.
I'm glad Steve's not here.
That's just the worst mascot in the SEC. Am I right, fellow Aggies? You freaking dorks. You bunch of weirdos.
It's like amateur night for stand-up or something.
It is. That's the best possible way to say. The best part is they say stuff like that, and all the Aggie fans are out there slapping knees like it's the funniest damn thing they've ever heard. It's gonna be a red carpet for our wrecking ball defense. 0 sacks. 0, none, nada, nil, 9. Go home, Ags. You're a bunch of dorks. 0 sacks for your wrecking ball defense against the worst offensive line in the SEC. Red carpet. Am I right, Aggies? Freaking weirdos, dude. I need you to know. Golly, I didn't get myself out of breath doing that.
I was gonna say, man, that marching.
I'm hyped up right now.
I mean, you were high stepping too. So
I am hyped up right now. Listen, there are like 2 schools, and I mean this. There are 2 schools that you ever heard somebody say, "Oh, who's your favorite college football team?" Well, it's South Carolina and whoever beats Clemson. It's Clemson and whoever beats South Carolina. That's a joke as old as time in college football. There are two teams in America that I don't care who they're playing. I'm a fan of whoever the hell is on the other side of the football field from that day. The Miami Hurricanes and the Texas A&M Aggies. Because there is not a more obnoxiously and unjustifiably entitled fan base than Miami and Texas A&M. And it's this dork crap every weekend. Gamecocks picked the glorified chicken. That's hard to be proud of, and your dog is Lassie. And don't get me wrong, all respect to Lassie, but if you lined up all the college football dog mascots and asked which one am I afraid of, I'm going to pet Lassie first. She's a sweet dog. And that's put out, and you're going to bang up on a glorified chicken? Get out of here, you losers. Enjoy the flight back to College Station. And by the way, you're one letter closer to spelling College Station correctly because South Carolina just put that L in College Station. Take it on back to Texas, weirdos. You freaking cult. You're weird. Nobody likes you.
Maybe next time they show up in a couple years or whenever, maybe some underground cockfighting champions should bring out their chickens and have them chase them off the steps.
Dude, freaking weird. I don't get it, man. Like, I need you to know. So the project.
Did they fly out with the team, or did they fly out on their own money?
I have no idea. No, I believe. I mean, they're like the cheerleader. They are the scar. They're not like. They are the cheerleaders.
They are the cheerleaders.
They are the cheerleaders.
Okay. All right.
So I assume the school brings them.
They have to fly back on that plane.
No, I'm sure they got their own thing, and certainly again, if I get on the plane to fly to a game and the yell leaders are on that plane, I'm getting my ass off the plane and I'm getting on a different plane. All right, I don't want to be around them. They're just weird, man. Alonzo, I have openly said on this show for a very long time, I am live and let live. I am a let people do what people want to do. Let them love who they want to love. Let them enjoy what they want to enjoy. Except furries. And now the Texas A&M yell leaders. You can add them to the list. There are two groups of people in America that I will openly judge. Furries and the Texas A&M yell leaders. That's the whole list.
All right. Starting the week off right.
No.
That's all right. I don't care.
It's 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, but I had a really good football weekend.
That's true.
I'm all right with it. Yes, the Texas A&M yell leaders are a team that's part of the university. That's because I wanted to look this up. Yell leaders are a team of upperclassmen, 3 seniors and 2 juniors, elected each year by the student body.
Oh, it's apparently it's a big honor to be a yell leader, right? Because it's a popularity contest. The students got to vote you there. You've got to have minimum thresholds and marks you got to meet. And that's all well and good. You know what the other threshold you got to be is? A giant dork. You got to be well liked, have great grades, and be a total dork. And as long as you meet those 3 qualifications, you are entitled to be a Texas A&M yell leader. Congratulations. You can march around on the stage holding the mic up in the air like you're a knockoff professional wrestler and make booty cheeks jokes. Jokes, I guess jokes that then turn around and backfire and bite you square on your Aggie ass. Gamecocks, thank you. Thank you. Not just for having what I genuinely believe, not could be, is a program-defining dub. I think this is that I'm calling the shot. This isn't like speculation. It could be. It might be. Blah, blah, blah. I am saying I am putting it on the line now. Circle back around and I'll eat the crow if I'm wrong down the line. But that is a programming-defining dub. Not just the win on the field. But it's also the fact that you had a house full of recruits, including a couple of ag recruits that were in that stadium. And I don't know how much you watched, those of y'all that didn't go. That stadium was the definition of what we love about college football. That stadium, I'm pretty sure I heard it from my backyard at Taylor's. It was freaking rocking. You bring recruits into that atmosphere, and then you whoop that ass. That's how you define a program. Program-defining W. And also, you sent the Aggies back to their compound with an L. That's damn good work, South Carolina. Hey, Clemson fans, we're coming to you too. Rob Lonzo and you, the Rob Brown Show, the 3-time SCBA Sports Talk Radio Show of the Year, returns after this on the Fan Upstate.
This is WWE Intercontinental Champion, der Ringgeneral Gunther, and you're listening to the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
Good morning, Brandon. I'm so glad you're here.
News Talk 98.9 WORD Weather Center. Here's the Carolinas with trusted forecast on the Fan Upstate. Some scattered
You
showers
guys should be
are possible
wooing
early on
nonstop today,
cloudy with a high
JB.
nearing 62.
Nonstop.
Some rain possible overnight, mostly cloudy
These
with a low
guys,
around 56.
yeah.
There will be a chance for some rain showers early Tuesday, cloudy with a high of 69, and some rain Tuesday.
They
night
picked
with
a
of 62.
glorified
I'm
chicken.
meteorologist Kara
All right,
Foster
dude,
on the
you
Fan
picked
Upstate.
the
Currently, it's 55
gentlest,
degrees.
sweetest dog of dogs. Good job.
If you're living with chronic joint pain in
Uh,
your knees, hips, lower back, and shoulders,
Can we spend
I've got
an
exciting
hour
news
talking
for you.
about
Emmett
Saquon?
Smith, all-time rushing leader.
Just
and
an
Hall of
hour
Famer.
talking
Now you
about
can get relief from
Yeah,
pain.
that.
if he tries
Just
that,
that.
yeah, if he tries
All my
that crap
guys at
again,
QC Kinetics.
someone's going
QC
to come
Kinetics
across his back.
specializes in biologic therapies that can repair and restore damaged tissue. I'm talking about natural pain treatments now available, not just for
Saquon with
athletes,
the
but to people like you.
backwards
QC
hurl.
Kinetics, we're seeing patients
I've
every
never-
day.
That was
who
lucky-
suffer from chronic
luckiest
joint
move in the
pain, but who
world.
desperately
That
wanted
was
to
so
avoid
lucky.
Surgery. We're treating joint pain with biologic therapy.
Let's have some killer hops,
regenerative
though.
solutions with long-lasting results.
Listen, it's all about getting your life back. Playing touch football with kids, walking upstairs pain-free, getting back on the job. Patients at QC Kinetics are raving about the results.
QC Kinetics. Call to learn more about restorative treatments that can get you back in the game.
Call QC Kinetics 864-448-3772. 2 area locations. QC Kinetics 864-448-3772. That's 864-448-3772.
Hi, this is Cole Bryson.
And this is Diesel with Wire to Wire.
We'll be live this Wednesday at 429 East Main Street in Liberty.
Stop by for your chance to win a $25 Ingles gift card.
Lowe's knows you want to get even more value for the holiday. That's why as a MyLowe's Rewards member, you get new member deals every week on everyday essentials, tools, and more. And you earn points when you shop. More points equal more rewards to help you save on holiday and more. Not a member? Join for free today at Lowe's.com/MyLowe's Because Lowe's knows deals. Program subject to terms and conditions. Points are awarded on eligible purchases. See Lowe's.com/terms for full details. Subject to change.
It's football season, and Uber Eats is dropping undefeated deals on all your game day favorites. This week, score buy one, get one free Crunchwrap Supremes from Taco Bell, only on Uber Eats. Craving even more? We've got you covered with game day deals on pizza, burgers, wings, and more all season long. Uber Eats, official on-demand food delivery partner of the NFL.
Order Taco Bell for game day now through November 17, 2024. Second item of equal or lesser value. Terms apply. See app for details.
Running a small business is no small task. At Home Trust Bank, we work hard to prepare businesses for whatever tomorrow may bring. Your dreams are our business, and we have local experts who can help you plan for a successful future. Dependable guidance you need and service you'll appreciate. At Home Trust Bank, we take your small business banking personally. Visit your local Home Trust branch or anytime at htb.com. Member FDIC.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS.
I hate the internet when it
12 years of
shows you
practice
things
as a reproductive urologist.
like
I've
this
helped
dude
many guys
put
with
like
ED,
2 shovels
and it has
together
never
and it
been
looks
more
real
convenient to
easy.
treat than it
And
is
I
then-
right
watched
now.
that yesterday.
And then you're
It
like,
really
I
wasn't
want to
easy.
try
Uh-huh.
that. And then
Take time out of
you
your
know,
day
and if you
to
try it,
go to
it's
physical
not going to
office
work
and
the
see a
way it did
specialist
for,
like
I
me.
for him.
watched that
Now,
video last
Province.com,
night, and I
you can get
need you to
world-class
know,
sexual
I
health care and a full
immediately
range of
then
treatment options
Googled
for ED. through a
How do I
100%
weld?
online process.
It's like, can I weld something at home?
Yeah, but
can I backyard
you know
weld?
what he's not doing? At least he's not doing that with the gravel. He's doing it with the sand.
For those of you who don't know what the hell we're talking about, which I assume is the majority of you, this guy took a shovel and he should, you know how you shovel and you got to reach down, especially when you shovel heavy stuff like gravel and whatnot. And he reaches down at the bottom of the shovel. Well, this guy welded a second handle onto the shovel that comes not straight up, but almost straight up.
Oh, now he's doing gravel. Now
Yeah.
fine. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So he grabs the regular handle, but then he's got another handle like this. And so when he's shoveling this gravel, he doesn't have to bend over and lift the shovel up with all, you know, like you have to when you shovel. He's got both, and he doesn't have to bend over. He just shovels standing up. I saw that video last night, and I was like, that guy's gonna make $1 gazillion. That guy's gonna make $1 billion.
Oh, the shovel industry will
There's a whole lot more to know about sound.
Big
if you
shovel.
really want to go into the subject.
Big shovels out there.
Speaker. Just say play 97 The Fan Upstate on your HD radio at WFBC HD3.
There's just one more thing.
And on your computer at
TheFanUpstate.com.
Rise and shine, sports fans.
Let's train.
Grab your coffee and get a jolt of sports on the Rob Brown Show with Lonzo. Now, weekday morning 6 to 10 on The Fan Upstate.
So on one hand, the South Carolina Gamecocks got all the juice in the game right now behind them because, again, program-defining win. But they are not the only program in the Palmetto State that had a program-defining result this weekend. We were talking last week about whether or not Louisville coming to Death Valley was a trap game. I want to make something very clear. That wasn't a trap game. You got beat. That wasn't we had our eyes turned to Blacksburg, Virginia, and the Hokies on the road in one of the most difficult places to play in college football next weekend. No. That wasn't we got one more ranked team 2 weeks out and the Pitt Panthers waiting for us and we got our attention focused down the line. No. You got beat at night in your house. When I moved here, I had never been to a Clemson game at Death Valley. When I moved here, I got told Death Valley at night, despite the fact that Clemson historically actually likes to play day games at home, I got told Clemson, South Carolina at night is untouchable. No one wins there. It has been since something like, and I don't know the exact number, but something like 2014. The last time that Clemson lost a night game at home. Louisville did not come in there and sneak by you. They did not come in there and walk you off with a miracle. They didn't come in there and slip out the back door with a W. Louisville came in there and beat your ass. They out-hustled you, they out-hit you, they outran you, they out-blocked you, they out-threw you, they out-caught you, they out-tackled you, they out-footballed you, top to bottom, left to right, and they left no doubt about it. You had Phil Maffa, and how bad was it? Lonzo, Cade Klubnik's Heisman campaign is over. It is over. That fast.
I never believed in that.
He was fringe. I will acknowledge he was fringe. I thought he was like 5th of 5 invites fringe, but he was inside the top 5 in terms of Vegas odds to be invited. Just invited, not win, but invited.
The loss is not all on him because the Clemson defense was not good.
For sure. I want to make it abundantly clear. The point that I'm making here is not to pin this on Cade Klubnik. Was he part of it? Absolutely. Absolutely. Were there reasons he was part of it? Also, absolutely.
Yeah, you could blame defense, you could blame play calling, you could blame a lot of things.
Yeah. Cade Klubnik was being harassed Saturday. harassed Saturday night. And the result of Cade Klubnik being harassed was that Cade Klubnik reverted to last year that fast. The happy feet were back. The panic was back. I will give him credit. He tried to make plays with his legs, but Louisville was creating chaos with a base set. They weren't doing anything special, and this is why I think you're in trouble. Because they weren't doing anything that was over the top. I'm not saying they didn't blitz. I'm saying they weren't giving you like big-time diagnosed looks. They weren't doing anything special to throw you off. Right? Here's the first question and answer from Dabo's postgame.
That has been brewing, even though y'all have done well the previous 3 games. There was the issue setting the edge and some of those tackles coming before that.
Yep.
Before tonight.
Saw some of those same things that's hurt us, and so it's my job to get it better. I didn't do it.
Is Louisville doing anything different defensively than what you saw on film?
Nope.
That's it. That's the answer. Was Louisville doing anything defensively that was different than what you've seen? Nope. Nope.
I gotta
didn't.
say, listening to Dabo's voice, and I know that was one answer, I'm not used to hear him having a defeated voice. He's usually still upbeat in a loss, saying we're going to correct things that were wrong. It just doesn't sound, it sounds defeated.
Oh, I want you to know, and I'm glad you said that, great one. I want you to know because I pulled the first about minute and a half of Dabo's presser, not because Dabo said anything that made me go, oh, that's interesting, or that's a unique take, or I didn't see that, or whatever. None of that. I pulled it for one reason and one reason alone, because when I listened to it, I had that exact same reaction. I went, this dude sounds defeated. Here, I'll give you, just so you don't think I'm going over the top here, dear listener. I'll give you another few seconds of it.
Same things that's hurt us, and so it's my job to get it better. I didn't do it.
Is Louisville doing anything different defensively than what you saw on film?
Nope.
What would you attribute the offensive struggles to in the second and third quarter?
Penalties, misplays, miss block or two. We had a couple of missed blocks up front. We had one on the outside that put us behind the chains, and that's really it. Just not a lot of rhythm. That's really the biggest thing.
I mean, you're not supposed to sound happy when you lose. You're not. But I think in the past, he always seems to be willing to use it as a teachable moment and talk about, these are the things that we need to do better, and we're going to do better. We're going to get on the practice field. We're going to take care of this. We're going to be ready for whoever the next opponent is. But that didn't sound that way.
You say, and I agree with you. I'm not looking for my coach to get up there after taking that L, especially at the house, especially when you're inside the top 11, the track to the ACC title game and a potential playoff spot, not just playoff spot, but first round bye it's yours for the taking. It's right there. All you got to do is win everything and win out and you're good. And win out against one of the easiest schedules remaining of any team that is in a position for a bye. All you got to do is win out. You got one more ranked game, and it's against number 19 Pitt. Respectfully to Pitt, ranked team that nobody respects, okay? All you got to do is win. I'm not asking Dabo to come out there with a happy, happy, joy, joy attitude at the presser. What I'm saying is, in years gone by, when Clemson is taking an L and Dabo's gotten to the mic, he doesn't sound that dejected, right? It's usually, hey, winning's tough. Winning's tough. And I will say this, just for full clarity, I have accused Dabo in the past of those happy, happy, joy, joy mentality. I don't think it is. I think it's passive aggressive being ticked off. I think it's being ticked off, but that's not your preferred projection of yourself, right? I think it's his passive-aggressive way of hitting at the media who has questioned him, at hitting at fans who have questioned him. I got news for Dabo Swinney, and I got news for Clemson. You answered some of those questions this Saturday night. Those questions that Dabo was getting tired of, those questions that he was so frustrated with, those questions that have brought out what I have thought for years was a bit of a passive-aggressive mentality from Dabo. Those questions that got asked, those questions have been answered now. You ain't the same team. You don't have the athletes. You don't have the mentality. And you're going to hear a gazillion people today with microphones that are going to go, oh, man, that's the portal. That's the NIL. And don't get me wrong. Those people aren't wrong. Those people aren't wrong. You don't have the depth on the depth chart like you used to. And part of that is because there are tools available to you as a college football program to bolster that depth that schools are taking advantage of when you're not. They're not wrong for that. They're not wrong for it. However, the mentality of this team is bad. It's just bad. You got punched in the mouth, and the team didn't just not respond. But in the fourth quarter of that game, when you were still alive and had a chance, Louisville was still knocking you around the football field. What do you want me to say? I think this was a program-defining result. And by program-defining, I mean the definition of this program's on a downward trajectory now. South Carolina's exact opposite after their win. We're going to talk more college football when the show rolls on. Rob Alonzo and you, the Rob Brown Show, the Fan Upstate.
Hey, football fans, join me, Pat Boyle, for Gridiron Game Day. The biggest plays and latest news as it happens every Sunday afternoon. Gridiron Game Day on the Fan Upstate.
I'm Chuck Sanders. Here's the Sports Flash presented by Progressive. On the ice Sunday, the Hurricanes doubled up the Capitals 4-2. Carolina 8-2-0. Wins in 6 straight. The Final Four in the NASCAR Cup Series will race next Sunday at Phoenix. It'll be Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano, Tyler Reddick, and William Byron racing for the title.
Chuba inside the 10, 5, slides into the end zone. Touchdown Panthers. He spikes the ball, and Carolina's got a lead.
Calling Panthers Radio 23-22, the win over the Saints. Carolina improves to 2-7, 1-3 at home, while the Saints drop to 2-7 overall, 1-4 away from home. Chuba Hubbard ran for a pair of touchdowns. Bryce Young led the winning drive. Carolina had lost 5 straight, while the loss was the 7th in a row for the Saints. Young
I know. I meant to word it
71 yards, hit a touchdown. Classic Rock 101.1 is your home for Carolina Panthers play-by-play all season long. Download the Odyssey app, search the Fan Upstate, and listen anywhere on your phone. I'm Chuck Sanders with the Sports Flash on the Fan Upstate.
Up to the minute, upstate traffic. The Cordell and Cordell Jam Cam shows Greer. Westbound Highway 29, Wade Hampton stalled at Highway 14 back to Arlington Road. Other than that, it's all clear to the upstate right now. I-85, 185, 385, 26, and 585
I don't care about any of them.
Wide open.
From the usually there's at least one that sparks my interest.
I'm Bill Brooks.
There was
on the
nothing.
Fan
It's like, you know what, I'm
Upstate.
just gonna
I
turn
sure
this
don't want to
off.
spend another holiday sitting around watching football.
We're going to the Upstate Holiday Light Show at District Park.
My college football day alone
2 million
was
lights,
good
carnival
enough to
rides,
fuel
a
me through the
a
weekend.
600-foot light tunnel, a gigantic
Ohio State,
Christmas
Penn
tree.
State was exactly what
Oh my gosh,
you
I've
thought
got
it
to
was
tell
going
Bob
to
about
be.
this. The kids will have a blast.
We go every year, and it's open 7 days a week.
The Upstate Holiday Light Show, opening Thanksgiving Day at District Park at the intersection
No,
of
my wife was
123
telling
and
me about it,
153. Visit upstatelights.com.
Are you frustrated because you've been exercising and eating healthy, but you still can't lose weight? Hi, this is Dr. Elliot Hirschhorn with New Life Weight Loss, and we know the secret to losing weight and getting healthy the natural way without drugs or surgery. At New Life Weight Loss, many patients lose 20 to 30 pounds in about a month or two without prepackaged meals, no exercising, drugs, or surgery, because we get to the root cause of your weight. Go to mynewlifeweightloss.com now.
Hey, it's Rob Brown. Listen, I'm going to make it real simple. I dropped 50 pounds and a foot off of my waistline with New Life, and my life is crazy. So if I can do it, you can do it. Call New Life. Tell them Rob Brown sent you, and they will give you $250 off the program.
To learn more
Walks
about our
away. The
program,
kid
go to
walks away. James Franklin gets
mynewlifeweightloss.com to schedule your
furious.
free consultation.
He
Our
walks
expert team
over.
will discuss your
You
health
know, Penn
goals
State
to help
has a
determine the
victory
root
bell,
cause of your weight
right?
issues
That they ring
and put
only
you on
after
a path
dubs.
to success.
James Franklin
Call
walks over and rings the victory bell.
899-2550. That's
Well, I
I'm
guess-
like, you do know you just lost the game, right?
I guess he was complaining about officiating.
Oh, the officiating was booty cheeks, and y'all got away with a lot. I'm not gonna fight that.
I would
Still got to win the game.
I would say it's on both sides.
No,
But
as a neutral observer in that, who did not have a dog in the fight, y'all got
more information.
This
y'all
message
got some
brought to you
calls.
by
I just
MTC Federal.
may have
Next
gotten some
level
calls, but
banking.
they got away with some stuff, including
Experience next level
one
banking
guy
with
was going
MTC
in
Federal.
trying
Our
to
new digital banking
sack Will
platform
Howard.
with enhanced
The
security
offensive
has all the
lineman
tools you need
had
to
him
bank anywhere,
underneath his
anytime.
arms,
Learn more
and he
at
was turned backwards
mtcfederal.com.
and
Federal
was
insured
right in
by
front of the
NCUA.
referee, and they didn't call it. So there's a lot of things that
Stolen calls are one thing. Your DBs were teeing off on Penn State's receivers. I mean, teeing off on them.
So you didn't hear the part where they said at the beginning of the game that the referees said that they were going to let them play.
I am 100% good with let them play.
So if you let them get away with something early, that's on the referees. That's not. I mean,
I agree.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at Penn State. You got what you were given and you took advantage of it. That's football. I'm good with that.
but I don't think it was a mandate from up above. We want Ohio
I'm not
State
saying
to
it is
win.
either. I'm not. There's no. When I say the refereeing was bad, it doesn't imply that there's some grand conspiracy called down to protect Ohio State. In fact, if anything, Penn State, I would think, would be the team you protect in that spot. You need this team to finally hit. They're right back to being the joke, right?
Are they? They still can make the playoff.
Nobody gives a damn.
But
Does
they-
James Franklin threaten anybody? James Franklin is against top 25 teams. Is like 3-24.
Of the one.
They don't scare anybody. Why
Well,
would they?
as
They
they
don't beat
pointed,
anybody.
as they pointed out,
college
Ryan
students can
Day's
major in wear and
record
tear.
against top
Plus,
25
housing so many
teams,
Not a whole lot
or,
better.
or
A lot
top
of room
5
to
teams, I
house
think
all
it
the
was.
supplies you need.
Not that good
That's
either.
where Grainger
So-
comes in. With over 1 million industrial grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products
See if I can
he
find
needs
that number. I
so
had it
he
the
doesn't
other
have
day.
to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.
Whatever that number was,
stop
Jacob,
by.
I think it just
Grainger,
changed
for the
after
ones
Saturday.
who get it done.
From the Ingles Market Studio, the Fan.
Upstate. 97.7 FM Greenville. 97.1 FM Spartanburg.
Always live on the Free Odyssey. Now, the Infinity Sports Network. Sound off on the text line.
At 71307. Keyword fan.
You're listening to the Rob Brown Show, only on the Fan.
Upstate.
All right, we're going to come back to Clemson and South Carolina, probably both a number of times throughout the course of the show, but there was something else that happened in collegiate football this weekend that I can't not talk about. And I know that you guys are here, as you should be, to talk Carolina Panthers, to talk Clemson Tigers, to talk South Carolina Gamecocks. I was going to do the Rooster thing, but it's too early. I'm not there yet. I know you're here to talk about our teams, and we are going to talk. We're going to spend a lot of time talking about our teams. In fact, we're going to talk about, I should say, your teams. We're going to talk about your teams so much that coming up at 9 o'clock, got a special guest for you today, the legendary Rashad Beard of the Panther Nation podcast, because Rashad leaves Wednesday. He's flying to Germany to go watch the Panthers play over at New York. I did go to the game yesterday. Because I was guilt-tripped into it.
Yeah, we all knew you were going. Because you went to see Rashad. I mean, all you had to do is say, "I'm going because I want to visit with Rashad." You could have got away with anything else.
I went for 2 reasons. I did go to hang out with Shad because Shad guilted me, and he's like, "What do? We got a brown liquor shot at halftime. We got to take." I said, "You're right." So I did go to see Shad, and also the drummer for my band lives in Charlotte now. He'd never been to an NFL game, and he was like, "I kind of want to go." And I was like, "Oh, well, damn it. Now I got to take you." He'd never been to an NFL game. It was his first NFL game. He went to the ugliest NFL game in history.
I thought it was very competitive, as I thought it would be between two teams that are subpar. So, and that usually with evenly matched teams sometimes come across with a pretty good game.
So you and I watch fight videos on the internet all the time. We break them down because we're very entertaining people. It was competitive the way we've seen some of those videos where it's like 2 super fat guys that take their shirt off at the bar and they're just throwing haymakers at each other. Like, yeah, it's competitive. That doesn't mean the competition's good. It's competitive. It's evenly matched. It doesn't mean that we're not watching 2 fat guys without shirts on throw haymakers at each other. That's all it was.
All right. So your example, everyone's watching that. 2 fat guys with their shirts off.
Yeah, but they're not watching because they go, "What an elite art of fighting here." They're watching because they go, "Watch how much of a dumpster fire this is going to be. And it was. And it was.
And it's still very competitive.
I would also like to say, and I mean this. This is not a hot take. This is not me trying to grab attention. I'm sincere about this. I'd like to congratulate the Carolina Panthers, Lonzo. They're not the worst team in the NFL anymore. You're not the worst team in the NFL anymore.
No, Cleveland is.
No, they're not. My team is. It is a race to the crapper between Tennessee, New England, New Orleans, and Cleveland beat Baltimore last week.
Yeah, and then yesterday happened.
Yeah, well, we're not talking about that right now. All right, so my buddy said, never been to an NFL game. My drummer in my band from back home, he lives in Charlotte now. He goes, I've never been to an NFL game. I was like, well, this probably isn't the one to take in as your first experience, but whatever. Tickets were $12. $12. I bought, yes, I'll go to an NFL. I'll go to a bad NFL game for $12.
Yeah, but you said you had tickets downstairs, so you'd already said
I didn't use them. They were gone by the time the game.
Okay, all right.
They were gone.
Okay.
Because I sat Saturday night. I finished my fire pit on Saturday. Okay. Laid the gravel down, got the border down, got the pit dug, finished my fire pit on Saturday. The wife and I sat out in the backyard, watched South Carolina, Texas A&M, watched Clemson Louisville by a fire. And we went to bed at 11:30, midnight. And she goes, are you going to the game tomorrow? And I went, no, I don't think I'm going. I have to leave at 8:30 in the morning. It's almost midnight already. The only night I get a full night's sleep is Saturday night into Sunday. I don't think I'm going. And she goes, if you don't go at 1:00 when this game kicks off, you're going to be sitting in your chair going, damn it, I should have gone. How many times? And I said, yeah, but it's going to be a Booty Cheeks game, and we're probably going to lose to Carolina. And she goes, all right, whatever. Just let me know if you decide to go. I said, that's fine. So I went to bed Saturday night, committed to not going. Committed to not going. Left my tickets downstairs, told the boss, I'm like, give them away. I don't want them. I'm not going. So, okay. So I didn't take them. Didn't want a press pass. Cole Bryson got the press pass. He went over. I didn't want to go. I was like, I'm not going. I was committed. Then Sunday morning.
Cole got us on the thing. He asked some good questions and stuff. He's posted them, so you should check those out if you get a chance, including a question to Xavier Leggett.
I didn't want to go. I was like, Cole got this. He'll handle the coverage. I'm good with that. I'll talk about it Monday. And then I got up Sunday morning, and about 8:00, my buddy, my drummer from my band up in Charlotte, about 8:00, he texted me. He's like, what time you getting here, man? And I texted him back, and I was like, dude, I don't think I'm coming. And he just wrote back, oh, okay, period. You understand the gut punch that was? My man was all jazzed up about going to his first NFL game. And I'm like, sorry, dude, I don't think I'm coming. I don't want to drive 2 hours to go watch my team lose to the worst team in the NFL and officially take the crown of worst team in the NFL. And he responded, oh, okay. And I was like, all right, fine. So I jumped on SeatGeek and I looked it up, and tickets to sit halfway up in the 500 sections were $12. So I was like, all right, I mean it when I tell you, the fees per ticket were more than twice the ticket, right? So I was like, all right, dude, screw it. I'm coming. So I drove up there and I watched.
Why not take a chance as a scalper? I mean, because you don't have to pay fees for those, right? I don't know. I've never bought tickets from a scalper. I'm just guessing.
Because this is gonna be the most pathetic thing I've ever said on the radio. Because I'm a terrible negotiator and I'd end up paying more to the scalper. I wish that was untrue. I wish that was untrue. I'm a terrible negotiator. When the lady friend and I go out on vacation, she, wherever we're going, she loves to go to the little, the little street markets, wherever we are, right? Go down to the Dominican Republic. She wants to go to the street markets. We've gone to, when we were in Baston, we went to the little street markets. And she is the one who will walk in and the price is $25 and she'll walk out and she's got it for, $15.50 or whatever. I'll walk in, the price is $25. Somehow I end up paying $28 walking out. I don't know. I can't explain it. I'm a booty cheeks negotiator. All right. There's nothing worse in the world than when somebody goes, all right, Rob Brown, time to negotiate your contract. Cause I'm like, oh, I'll take less money because I love working here. I'm not good at it.
That's one thing you probably shouldn't have said on the air.
Yeah, I'm joking. I'm joking. So anyway.
He's always listening.
Yeah, no, I'm joking. kind of. So, I'm a terrible negotiator. So anyway, drive over, go to the game. It stinks. The point of all this is that I went to the game and Rashad's coming on at 9:00. Okay. He's trying to come on at 9:00 because he leaves Wednesday. So he's got packing and working and all that. But I did meet Rashad.
So what did your buddy think about his first NFL game?
Exactly what I thought it was, which is the, I don't know, 26,000 in attendance. I'll put it this way. Friday night, he was in the same building because he went to Charlotte FC versus Orlando City FC for an MLS playoff game. About 2.5 times as many people in the building for that game. Okay. So it wasn't, I couldn't sell him on how much fun are NFL games because the crowd stank. The crowd was dead until Chuba Hubbard scored that go-ahead touchdown. In fact, I'll put it this way. Before that touchdown, the Panther fans were leaving. They were leaving. Now, because Rob Brown is not an idiot, I didn't say a word. I didn't say, my buddy's like, and we're what, three and some change minutes left. Saints are up. We walked down to go get a beer. I'm gonna hit the bathroom before the clock's hit 00 guy because I'm a planner. We go down to the tunnel. Game's still going on. Carolina has the ball to start with the drive that would ultimately result in the go-ahead touchdown. We're down in the tunnel. My buddy's like, at this point, I can tell he's over it. He's ready to roll. He's like, you ready to roll? And I'm like, listen, man, we got the lead. 3 minutes left to play. If you want to go take off, that's fine, but I'm going to go finish the game. And he goes, oh, you don't get to see many wins. I get it. Which hurt, but he's not wrong. Okay. And I'm like, my man, direct quote. I said, J-Rye, do not underestimate the ability of the New Orleans Saints to this up. And he looked at me and he's like, there's no way, dude. And I'm like, oh, no, we will it up. It's a guarantee. We are losing this game. And there was a guy behind me in a Xavier Legette jersey. And he kind of starts laughing, and I turn around and I'm like, that hurts my feelings, bud. And he laughs and he goes, no. He goes, what's the opposite of the immovable force versus unstoppable object? Because that's what this game is. He's like, somebody is I'm trying to remember exactly what he said it. Something to the tune of, closely paraphrasing. One of these two teams is going to this up slightly worse than the other team is it up. And that's exactly what happened. Exactly what happened. Just a booty cheeks game. Congratulations to Carolina. You are no longer the worst team in the NFL. You are in a tie with Tennessee, New England, Cleveland, New Orleans, and Las Vegas. The race to the bottom this year is like Dale Earnhardt caliber of impressive. And we will come back to this later on in the show. I actually wanted to talk about James Franklin right here, and then I just got distracted by this stupid football team that I tweeted out last night. And this is not a haha funny moment anymore. I tweeted at the New Orleans Saints last night. Not that don't get me wrong. I don't think I'm an important person. I'm not. I'm some irrelevant dork ass yokel in South Carolina with a microphone. All right. I'm a nobody. But I sent out a tweet to the Saints yesterday that said, and I mean this, and I'll go on the record now. I'll put this on the social media later. All right. I need the Saints to know, and I mean this, you are not getting another dime out of me, and you are not getting another minute of me watching a game until the leadership of this team has changed. I'm a gracious loser because I've been a loser my whole life. All right. I've learned how to lose. I don't say that like, oh, Rob's a loser. I am, but that's not the point. What I mean is I've been involved in athletic competition and around it as both a player and a broadcaster and a fan for 40 years. I have learned how to take an L on the chin and keep on trucking. I have learned how to take an L at an away game as a fan and have a good time leaving the stadium. Joke with the home crowd. Ignore the people who are just being rank buttholes just for the sake of it. And there are a few Panther fans who were, and that's fine. Listen, I get it. It's your second win. It's your, 4th win in 2 years? I get it. You don't get to do that a lot. Pop off, young man. I parked a mile from the stadium, and I'm real glad I did because I needed that cool-off period. I was heated. I was furious.
What were you wearing?
Oh, I wore my Saints polo and Saints hat.
Okay.
All right. I rocked the
the
team colors. All right. At the end of the day.
Wait, you didn't get beat up?
No, I was having during the game, obviously I was sitting around primarily Carolina Panther fans, and we had a great time. Everybody was laughing and joking. There were 3 dudes behind me, all in Panther silver and blue, and we were cracking it up. At one point, Jalen Coker threw a ball or caught a ball over on the right-hand side for like 17, 18 yards. Phenomenal throw and catch. And I turned around and I talked to the dude. There was one dude next to me, like behind me and one seat over. And I turned around and I said, I'm going to tell you right now, y'all got a player. Jalen Coker gives me Marcus Colston vibes. Guy nobody saw coming, and he's going to be dominant in the offense for a number of time. And he looks at me and he goes, you know what that means? It means we're going to trade him to y'all for like a 7th-round draft pick next year. I was like, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. We got Dennis Allen and Derek Carr. They don't know how to get it. Derek Carr got Chris Olave killed yesterday. And for the record, I thought he was dead.
By the way, Chris Olave, not dead. He's okay.
Can I be real for a minute? That stadium was pin drop quiet when he was down. Pin drop. I'm not kidding. I thought he was out. He was stone cold, flat out. I thought he was dead. That's our team. Congrats, New Orleans. Not a dime. And not a minute. I mean this. Until Dennis Allen's not the coach, I'm not watching another game. This isn't haha funny. This is no longer facetious or doing it for a bit. I am not watching another minute of New Orleans Saints football. Not another minute until Dennis Allen's not there anymore. This team is broken and it quit. And I'm freaking embarrassed by it.
How many fans have said that and then they're back the next week?
Lonzo, you can hold. I mean this. I will not watch another minute of Saints football. And so help me if you catch me doing it. I'll quit. I don't care. I'm not watching another minute.
You quit what? Life? I mean,
no.
No.
If you catch me watching a minute of Saints football,
don't do that. Don't do that, because you could be at a sports bar or something,
intentionally watching,
and it's on, and you just happen to glance
if
up.
If I
someone
go to
will
the
call
bar,
you on that and tell you that you have to quit. Don't do that.
Okay, it won't be on my TV at the house.
Okay, there you go.
Is that better?
There you go.
The Saints will not be on a TV
and
at my house.
There's no way to confirm that. So that works.
You think the wife's not going to call me out on that? She'll be there. She'll text you a picture of it.
Yeah, probably.
Now I'm mad. Do Sports Flash. That.
Okay, let's talk about something else that could make you angry. The University of South Carolina was fined $250,000 by the Southeastern Conference after fans stormed the field following the Gamecocks' 44-20 win over number 10 Texas A&M at Williams-Brice Stadium. The school was fined for its second violation under the policy after the men's basketball team stormed the court following a 79-62 win over number 6 Kentucky back in January. The Carolina Hurricanes picked up win number 8 yesterday, 4-2 over the Washington Capitals. The Canes moved to 8-2-0 and moved past Washington for second place in the Metropolitan Division with 16 points in 10 games, just 1 point behind the division-leading Rangers. Tune in tonight, 6:30 as Furman Paladins take on the Columbia International Rams in hardcourt action. It's Furman versus CIU right here on your home for Paladins basketball, Fan Upstate.
Up to the minute, upstate traffic. The Cordell and Cordell construction cam shows road work has begun northbound 85 at Pelham Road. Traffic
Gotta
is
get
now
that
slow
stammer
back
looked
to
at.
1985. Spartanburg, East St. John at East Main Street is all tied up. At this moment, those are the only 2 traffic issues found in the upstate. 123 and from the west is clear, and 29 Wade Hampton is smooth sailing. From the News Talk 98.9 WORD Traffic Center, I'm Bill Brooks on the Fan Upstate.
It's the last blast blowout sale for the Upstate Golf Card. For a limited time, grab yours for just $25 and get access to 7 premier courses in the Upstate. Grab your foursome and hit the courses with the Upstate Golf Card. $25 for a limited time only. UpstateGolfCard.com.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
A clue.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent.
Aha.
So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle. Tide cleans better than the leading competitive free detergent, and it doesn't leave behind irritating residues.
Plus, Tide Free and Gentle has no dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on her skin.
Case closed.
If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Free and Gentle.
What if I told you that there was a single management software that could handle your CRM, accounting, manufacturing, marketing, inventory, sales, and everything in between for a fraction of the cost of the dozens of disconnected platforms most companies rely on to manage their business? Sounds pretty good, right? Well, that's Odoo.
Okay,
Odoo is the end-all, be-all for any business of any size, and it's ready to help your company reach the next level and beyond. Learn more at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Hey, this is Cole Bryson. It's the most wonderful time of the year. That's right, high school football season is here. And for the best coverage in the upstate, tune into the Saturday Morning Scramble each and every Saturday.
You changed your clock in your vehicle yet?
Interviews from players and coaches, and we will take your phone calls. Join me and Alex Guest from 8 to 10 a.m. on 97.1 FM in Spartanburg, 97.7 FM in Greenville. And
Well, I mean, when I put my phone on, it's the right time.
my phone on every time. Eagles.
The Fan.
Upstate.
I Bluetooth podcast more.
WORD Spartanburg.
Me too.
WFBC HD3 Greenville.
W249DL Greenville.
W246CV Spartanburg. The Fan.
Upstate.
An Odyssey Sports Station. Warning.
Man, check this out.
Your unofficial Rob Brown lockdown.
Represents being real. Yeah.
Unfiltered sports talk. Manufactured locally for the Carolinas.
Locked down.
This is the Rob Brown Show.
Get robbed.
Only on
The Fan. Upstate.
The three-time South Carolina Broadcasters Association Sports Talk Radio Show of the Year. The Rob Brown Show is back on your radio. It's the Fan Upstate. Happy Monday, dudes and dudettes. Great to be with you. I am Rob Brown, the great one. Lonzo on the ones and twos. Somebody on the text challenged us, Lonzo, to do the headstand touchdown celebration that swept America this weekend.
Yeah, we've both been wearing headphones for a really long time, so the top of our heads are flat. But no.
There's a part of me that wants to try it, and there's a part of me that knows that if I try it, the only way it's successful is if I'm on one of those like super thick like gym cheerleader tumbling mats. Because if I try that on this ground, I'm breaking something. All right. I respect the kid from Incarnate Word who started a phenomenon this weekend with the headstand touchdown celebration.
Got flagged right away, didn't he? Wasn't that him that got flagged right away?
I don't even know, because I'm going to tell you.
I'm pretty sure he did, because it's in college. You can't do that in college.
See, here's my question. Why?
Because it's the rule. And if you want the rule changed, have them change the rule. But until they do, it's the rule.
Stupid ass rule. Hate it. It's dumb rule.
Still the rule.
What's the rule? Don't stand unless the rule says don't stand on your head. And even if it does, that's a dumb rule.
Well, it's taunting.
I mean, he's literally doing the opposite. Like,
how is that?
Because he makes himself look like a goober in the best possible way.
No, have you seen him? No, that's
incredible.
That's precision. I mean, he is. He'd get a 10 out of 10 for form.
Oh, it was perfect execution. Perfect execution. All right, 7:02 in the morning. You got less than 58 minutes until you got to get into the office, sit down, respond to those emails that you ignored because holy crap, what a football weekend we had this weekend. Once you knock those out, though, you get your first break of the day. And what you should do is you should get up away from that desk. You should walk down the hallway down to the break room, grab one of them little styrofoam cups, fill it up with water as your excuse not to go back to the desk. Can't have liquids around the equipment, boss. It's very expensive. And you should stand there and you should have a conversation with Susan, because Susan loves sports. She loves football. Susan's a Gamecock fan. She's real excited to talk football today. Real excited to talk football today. But if you're going to talk to Susan about sports, you need to know what's going on in the world of sports. And if you need to know what's going on in the world of sports, well, ladies and gentlemen, you've come to the right place, because right now we do this.
Are you ready for the playbook of the peculiar, the almanac of the absurd, and the encyclopedia of the extraordinary? Well, you better be, because we're diving headfirst into the 3 top stories that will have your coworkers saying, "Burn it down! Burn it down!" Their first bathroom break.
No.
Here we go. Welcome to the water cooler cheat sheet on the Fan Upstate.
It's the Water Cooler Cheat Sheet, the top 3 sports stories that you need to know before you get to the office and start talking sports with your coworkers this lovely upstate Monday morning. What do you do? This is what you'll be talking about. Let's dive in with item numero uno. Major League Baseball has come to its conclusion. The Los Angeles Dodgers are your 2024 World Series champions. They defeat the New York Yankees 4-1. Now, that's not the Water Cooler Cheat Sheet item. Obviously, that happened almost a week ago already. Time flies all the time. What is on the Water Cooler Cheat Sheet is the fact that it is now Major League Baseball awards season, and the first of the prestigious awards were handed out yesterday. The Gold Gloves were given away yesterday. San Francisco Giant third baseman Matt Chapman won his 5th Gold Glove. Kansas City Royals shortstop Bobby Witt Jr. amongst the 14 first-time winners of baseball's most famous fielding honor. Your winners, Cleveland second baseman Andres Gimenez and left fielder Steven Kwan, both won for the 3rd consecutive year, along with Arizona first baseman Christian Walker and Cubs left fielder Ian Happ. Rocky center fielder Brenton Doyle won for the 2nd straight season. St. Louis slugger Nolan Arenado is a 10-time Golden Glove winner. Colorado's Ryan McMahon, both finalists, neither brought home a medal, which should tell you just how impressive the medal winners were this year. 6 teams had 2 Gold Glove winners each, with the Guardians, Rockies, Royals, Brewers, Giants, and Mariners all notching at least 2 of them. AL first-time winners, along with Bobby Witt Jr., Royals pitcher Seth Lugo, Mariners catcher Cal Raleigh, Minnesota first baseman Carlos Santana, Houston third baseman Alex Bregman, Toronto center fielder Dalton Varsho, Boston right fielder Wilyer Abreu, and Mariners utility man Dylan Moore. Over in the NL, first-time winners included Giants catcher Patrick Bailey, Milwaukee second baseman Bryce Terang, right fielder Sal Frelick, Colorado shortstop Ezekiel Tower, and Pittsburgh utility man Jared Triolo, as well as Atlanta Braves pitcher Chris Sale. Your Golden Glove winners for the 2024 season. Let's move on to item number 2. I don't mean to alarm anybody, but hockey season is here, ladies and gentlemen. Alarm. I don't want to alarm you guys, eh? The Carolina Hurricanes are good at hockey. 4-2 winners over the Washington Capitals last night. That Washington Capitals team was 2nd place in the Metropolitan Division. I say was 2nd place in the Metropolitan Division because now that belongs to the 8-2 Carolina Hurricanes after the win last night. A 2-goal night last night for Dmitry Orlov. You also had another goal from Martin Necas, who popped one, and Andrei Svechnikov, who popped one as well. The Carolina Hurricanes 8-2-0. They are 3-1 at the crib. And what does that do? It moves them into sole possession of 2nd place in the Metropolitan Division. They are tied in the points standings now over the Washington Capitals, but they have the heads-up tiebreaker in the Metro Division, meaning Carolina stands 2nd right now. They have also done so with 1 fewer game played than the Caps, but they are on a 6-game winning streak at this point. The Carolina Hurricanes ain't no joke, ladies and gentlemen. The news here that goes on the cheat sheet is not that the Hurricanes won. It's that the Hurricanes have won now 6 times in a row, and the Hurricanes are now in 2nd possession of that division. By the way, the only team with more points than them right now in that division are the league leading favorites to win the Stanley Cup, the New York Rangers, who have 1 more point. Your NHL divisional leaders right now in the Atlantic, the Florida Panthers, have 19 points, sitting on a 9-3 record. They are the only team in the Eastern and the Atlantic Division that has more points than the Carolina Hurricanes, with the exception of the aforementioned Rangers, who have 17. 22 points for the Jets, by the way. The Jets are 11-1, which is like irresponsible. 18 points for the Minnesota Wild. They have more than Carolina. No one else in the Central does. The Vegas Golden Knights have 17 points. No one else in the Pacific Division has more points than the Canes. This team is a good hockey team, man. Real good hockey team. If you are not watching Carolina Hurricane hockey, you're missing out on good hockey, like good hockey. All right, let's get to item number 3. Your Palmetto State football wrap-up is almost exclusively item number 3 on Mondays during the football season. Let us dive right in. And we start with the one team that does not want to be in this position. That is the Clemson Tigers. 33-21. The Louisville Cardinal do everything they want and a little bit more on the road in Clemson, South Carolina. Tyler Shuff was the threat, I thought, in this game. Turns out he wasn't. Turns out it was Isaac Brown, who racked up 151 yards and a tutty on 20 carries. This man averaged 7.6 yards per carry. Rushed for a total of 210 yards on the road at Clemson. You got beat at the point of attack. This is old school football out of the Louisville Cardinal. We are going to beat you at the line of scrimmage. And if you can't stop us, we'll run all damn day. And that is exactly what Louisville did in this game. We're going to talk more about this as the show progresses, because I said it back in the first hour. I will say it now. I think this is a program-defining outcome for Clemson. I feel like for the last year and a half, 2 years, maybe 3, the Clemson Tigers have been standing precariously on a razor's edge between relevancy and irrelevancy. And I got to tell you, I think Louisville just knocked you flat over into the land of irrelevancy. I think it is a downward trajectory. I'm not going to be so bold as to say that this is the beginning of the end of the Dabo Swinney era. I'm not, because I think Dabo has lifetime at Clemson if he wants it. I am going to say this weekend was the first time that it seemed consensus amongst Clemson fans that there's a problem, that something's wrong, and that it needs to be course corrected immediately. Clemson fans, where are you? 844-326-3663 is the renewal by Anderson of the Carolinas fan phone. The Ingles Market Studio text line is 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N to 71307. We'll read those texts on the air. I think it is telling that the Carolina fans have blowed up the text line so far, and I have heard crickets from Clemson fans this morning. Gamecocks all up on the text line. Clemson fans, nada. We're going to talk more about this result coming up a little bit later in the show. We stick with college football. Why? Because Shane Beamer this weekend said, hey, yo.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. I win. Google me.
44-20. The Gamecocks knock off number 10 Texas A&M at Willie. It just beat Texas A&M. They beat Texas A&M. There's multiple ways you can win a game. The other team can beat themselves, you can slip by, or you can beat them. South Carolina beat them. They sent the Colt back to the compound. Real sad. Mike Elko's team loses its first game in conference. They're now 5-1, and the one is Shane Beamer and his Gamecocks. Lenoris Sellers, 244 yards and a pair of tutties through the air, ran for 106 and a touchdown. Listen, I'm not going to say that I'm looking for South Carolina fans to apologize to Lenora Sellers because y'all kind of were up on my dog the last few weeks. And I'm going to keep it a buck. No cap. So was I. Because I think the kid was making some damn freshman mistakes. And I think some freshman mistakes in the LSU game, I think some freshman mistakes in the Alabama game, combined with the Jordan rules in place for the crown jewels of the SEC, cost you a couple of wins. This Gamecock team is, Lonzo, 2 to 4 good snaps, legitimately away from being 7-1 right now.
Absolutely.
2 to 3 good snaps away from being 7-1 right now. It looks to me, courtesy of what Clemson did this weekend, it looks to me like every game is winnable for the South Carolina Gamecocks the rest of the ride. In fact, I'm going to say this, and this is going to tick some people off, and I don't care. Lonzo, the toughest game left on the schedule right now is Hoomst, because I'm arguing it's the Vanderbilt Commodores.
Yeah. I mean, wow, so weird to say, isn't it? I mean, right now, with the way the Gamecocks played Saturday and the way Vandy has been playing, Vandy definitely better than Clemson right now.
Diego Pavia is a dog, and as he famously said, Vanderbilt is turned. The Doors on the road are the toughest game left right now. Clemson may find another gear. They may, this may be the boost of motivation that they needed to go back and defend the house. We'll find out. But right now, today, Vanderbilt is the toughest remaining game for the Gamecocks, and that's a winnable game. Okay? It's a winnable game. I think South Carolina's better than Auburn right now. And Vandy went to their house and beat them. Now you got to go to the Doors house, and it's going to be the loudest that I don't even know what the name of Vanderbilt Stadium is. Commodore Stadium? Is there some old general they named their stadium after?
I do believe it has a name, but yeah, I don't know.
Respect to Vandy, because I love Diego Pavia. That's my dog. First Bank Stadium. Now you all know. I didn't know. Did any of you know? I don't think any of you knew. First Bank Stadium, formerly Dudley Field at Vanderbilt Stadium. Now it's First Bank Stadium.
Dudley Field.
I like Dudley Field. Diego! Get the table! This game's going to be fun. South Carolina gets a dub over Texas A&M. We're going to talk about that game coming up as well. And to wrap it up, Carolina Panthers get that dub. 23-22, they knock off nope, not right now, not anymore, not for the time being. New Orleans Saints yesterday. Chuba Hubbard, one of his 2 tutties on the day, comes with just a tick over 3 minutes left to play, and that was all that the Panthers needed. They kept the Saints, for the most part, irrelevant in the red zone. Derek Carr had 1 touchdown pass. Taysom Hill had 1 touchdown run. Saints ran for 197 yards, $155 off the feet of Alvin Kamara. But here's the thing. Carolina's defense did exactly what a defense that is that banged up, that hurt needs to do. Once you get inside the 20, you ain't going nowhere. They stuffed everything New Orleans did. First 2 red zone drives for New Orleans, both ended in the red zone with field goals. Kept them out of the end zone. Saints walked away from 2 opening red zone drives with 6 points. What'd Carolina do? Get the ball back in the second quarter, go put up 10, take the lead. Good football. Good football. Good football as that roster is capable of playing. That team is Bodie. New Orleans is Bodie. They're garbage. I got to tell you right now, when I left and I walked with my boy J-Rye back to his rig, the lot that he was parked in, great one, I had to walk past the player tunnel where the Saints were coming out to get on their bus. Look, I took a picture of the Saints ride home.
That's funny.
It's all the dumpsters being dragged to the Saints locker room. And I was really hoping Dennis Allen was going to be in one of those dumpster carts when he left. My team sucks. It sucks. At least with Carolina, there's hope. There's optimism. There's a plan. You can see what's developing game by game. You can see what I believe, maybe not as steep as you'd like, but an upward trajectory. My team sucks, and we're $80 million over the cap. So that's fun. Congrats to the Panthers. They win 23-22. Has been confirmed. The legendary Rashad Beard will join us at 9 a.m. So I can, for the record, Lonzo, this is precisely why I didn't talk last Thursday. This is why. This is why I did not talk an ounce of bull last week. This is why.
Doesn't need to be any logic in fandom. It's fanaticism. You should have went crazy. You should have talked your stuff, even though you lost. I mean, disappointed.
I don't care. Be disappointed. You're not more disappointed than I am in my whole football organization.
No, I had a good sports weekend, so no, I'm not disappointed at all.
Hey, James Franklin is a goober. We should talk about that. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
QC.
All right, guys, quick live, and we're coming. Panicked. Coming right back. Stay right there.
team every week, and we don't play favorites. Every episode, you get a glimpse of the entire National Football League with First and Pod. Follow and listen to First and Pod on Mondays and Fridays on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Sponsored by eBay. We all got a thing. Yes, even you. If you love fashion, car parts, trading cards, whatever you're into, it's on eBay. So go find the thing that keeps you up at night. eBay. Things people love.
Hey, this is Cole Bryson. It's the most wonderful time of the year. That's right, high school football season is here. And for the best coverage in the upstate, tune into the Saturday Morning Scramble. Each and every Saturday, we will have instant reaction, interviews from players and coaches, and we will take your phone calls. Join me and Alex Guest from 8 to 10 a.m. on 97.1 FM in Spartanburg, 97.7 FM in Greenville, and on the free Odyssey app. All brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union and your local Eagles.
Program defining. There are a lot of games that are labeled program defining. About a quarter of them actually are. Because in order for something to be program defining, it not only has to be a result that genuinely stands out, but it also is something that must be carried forward, positive or negative. If your team goes out and has a bad loss, maybe a shocking loss, maybe you're upset on the road by a team that has been the laughingstock of the conference for 100 years, since the Pilgrims landed on Plymouth Rock. That isn't necessarily program defining. The definition is set by what happens after that. Just because your team welcomes in a top 10 program that is considered a playoff favorite, just because they come to your house and you beat them in what is arguably the largest victory of your head coach's entire tenure, and I say arguably because they did a couple of years ago go down to Memorial and knock off Clemson in their house. I still think the A&M win is the biggest win of Shane Beamer's tenure.
Yeah, you can't count the Clemson win because of the rivalry. I mean, so it's going to happen every once in a while. The A&M win definitely for Shane Beamer, the biggest win.
I think it is. And I'll tell you, it's not just for the results, right? Because it's one thing to have a good night game at Willie B and then come to the house, the Missouri Tigers, and to have a electric environment at Willie B against the Missouri Tigers and to go out there and beat the Missouri Tigers. Okay, good. Good. It's a good win. It's a good win. To have a top 10 team come to your house, to have the stadium on display the way it was. And I will tell you this. I watched at the house. The wife and I got off the show on Saturday. I got off Bet for the Cycle at 4. And we were yay close to driving over till I looked up tickets. They were not cheap. They were not cheap at all. They were like, we can't justify buying last-minute tickets to this game. So we didn't. We stayed outside. I finished up our new outdoor fire pit on Saturday after the game. Decided, you know what? I'm going to finish the fire pit. We'll watch this game outside. So finished the fire pit, sat out back, brought the TV out, watched it outside. And I don't know, Zoe, if it was the same for you, but the feed that I was watching on YouTube TV didn't have commercials. None. I did not watch commercials in that game, which I got to tell you, was that fun. So, no commercials. Now, I'm not saying that to brag about the fact that there were no commercials. I'm saying that to tell you that I'm assuming for a large swath of college football fans, and would you argue that Texas A&M at South Carolina was the biggest game happening Saturday night?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure, because it was a ranked team, and South Carolina has been they've been improved and nearly beat a couple really big teams. So for sure.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what Clemson was on at the same time.
Clemson was on at the same time, but
trying to
Clemson
think of
Louisville.
any other game that was on.
Clemson Louisville was not supposed to be. Now, I won't say it was the biggest result, although you can argue that it was. I will say that on Saturday at 8:30 p.m., it was the biggest thing happening in college football. And so around the country, and this isn't something that was controlled, but it is something that must be taken advantage of. Around the country on Saturday night, and if any of you had this experience, please let me know because I'm genuinely curious. Genuinely curious. How many of you, if you were watching on YouTube TV, did not have commercials in your feed? I did not, which meant that, Lonzo, every time that there was a timeout or a score or any stoppage of play, the feed went to a bird's eye cam up on top of the lights looking down at the field, and it showed the entirety of the inside of Willie B.
Oh, that sounds really cool.
Dude, so you know what we saw?
Especially with the lights and everything.
We
and
saw...
you sitting outside?
Yep.
You got a light show out there. Way to go.
We turned off we got we call them cafe lights that hang around the patio. I got a boys. The Casa de Love upgraded the Day Love this weekend. All right. I hung some cafe lights around the fire pit. It's got a nice little gravel bed down.
All right, what's a cafe light?
The lights that like hang on strings that hang down. Yeah, cafe lights.
Okay.
So I hung cafe lights around it. I got the fire pit, gravel bottom, nice dug down fire pit. So the fire's like right at knee high level. Got some nice chairs to sit outside with the Casa de Love, emphasis on the Day Love now. The wife and I sitting outside. I went and unplugged the cafe lights because the TV with the Willie B lights going in the dark over the fire, chef's kiss, man. And it was uninterrupted. So South Carolina would score, and those lights would go off at Willie B, and all of a sudden my backyard is just black and garnet flickering, dude. It was great. Now, why is that big? Because the eyes of the country were on Willie B Saturday night. You had the night game, you had the big game. The eyes of the country were on Willie B on Saturday night. And what did South Carolina do? They owned that night. And so, if you're a kid that's sitting at the Hizzle, if you're a kid that's sitting at the house and you're flipping channels and you're a potential 5-star, 4-star, whatever, and you're trying to figure out where to go, y'all, South Carolina put on a gosh darned show on Saturday night. Not just in that they won, but how they won. Not just in the way that they were scoring tutties in the second half, but the whole environment. And then after the game is over, here come the fans. Cost you $250,000. I would say money well spent, because they showed the aerial shot of the field. And man, it was incredible. There was another video that came out after the game was over. This is why college football, I've said it before, the NFL has better football. College has a better game day experience. There were fans that ran out onto the field, Lonzo, and they were taking their white rally towels, and they went out to midfield, and they were rubbing them on the midfield logo so that the paint from the field turned the white towels garnet and black. The eyes of the country were on you, and you answered the bell. Because, see, that's a game that if Texas A&M comes in and they win, even if it's a closely contested game, if they win, there's a lot of people that go, all right, it's a good environment, but, like, can't win football games, right? Everything was set up for you to win that game. You couldn't do it. They didn't just win. They dominated the game. I know for a fact that you had one of the biggest recruiting classes maybe in Shane's entire tenure that was in the building Saturday night. So not only did they experience what I think is now, and again, I've been to, I counted a couple of months ago on the show. I think I've been to 25 Division I college football stadiums in my lifetime. I'm going to tell you right now, the list of Saturday night experiences better than Willie B, to me, is Death Valley, Baton Rouge, Tennessee's Neyland Stadium, and I think that might be it. All right? That might be the whole list. So they got to experience that, and they got to see a football team that went out there, dominated the line of scrimmage, owned every aspect of the game. With all that electricity behind it, I'm going to tell you, if South Carolina can go on the road to Vanderbilt, to Nashville, Tennessee this weekend, and get a win against the hottest Vanderbilt team in the history of Commodore football, then we can say this. I'm saying it now. That was a program-defining W for the Gamecocks. But if you go on the road and you bring that same consistency, mentality, discipline, attitude, and you go get a result against Vandy, now we can say this team's full of dogs. And more importantly, this team's full of guys that have learned lessons and are carrying them forward this year, and that's a dangerous football team. Now, we've talked about program defining on the way up. Let's talk about program defining on the way down. Clemson, Louisville. When we come back on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
New life.
New life. Yeah.
All right, guys, one more read and we're coming back. Stay right there for me. influencers are paid to make smart people do dumb things in the name of social media participation. However, what I cannot argue against is that influencer culture works. That's why advertisements are a thing, because we need you to hear that thing. We need you to believe that thing is good, and we need you to participate in that thing. By the way, please go visit our wonderful sponsors here on the Fan Upstate and tell them how much you love us, okay? Influencers can be a problem. Not for them, for the thing that they are influencing, because influencers can be negative too. And there are no bigger influencers in college football than the people who have the microphones, specifically during games. I would like to play for you a very quick clip. This clip is from the Clemson game. Clemson trails 26-7 with 6 minutes left in the game. Finally, Clemson finds a little bit of offense. Phil Maffa goes into the end zone. This, of course, brings the score to 26-13. Now, I'm bad at math. As I've told you many times, this is why all of my jobs are words jobs, because I'm bad with addition and subtraction and division and multiplication and all the other math things. But I do know, and I can do this off the top of my head. Lonzo, that 26 minus 13 is 13. And in order to get 13 points in football, one must score 2 touchdowns. I know that 26-14 is a 12-point game. I am also aware that in a 12-point game, you must score 2 touchdowns. However, if you were to add 2 points to 13 points, that would make it 26-15. That would make it 11 points. And I know that 8 plus 3 is 11, which means that if you make it an 8-point game, you must score a touchdown and only need a field goal to tie the game. And that is why when Clemson scored to make it 26-13 with 6 to play in the game, and they decided to kick the extra point, the young men with microphones that evening on ABC were, shall we say, perplexed.
Maffa up the middle, touchdown. Obviously, they have to go for 2. Although they're running Nolan Hooser out. You got to go for 2 here. If you kick the extra point, you're down by 12. This doesn't make any sense. You go for 2 here to try and cut the lead to 11 with 6 minutes to go. They're kicking the extra point with 6 minutes remaining. But now you're down by 12. I don't understand in any way, shape, or form the decision to not go for 2 points there.
Yeah. You talked about it in the break, about the fact that what the strategy needed to be.
I mean, you're running out of time. You need to keep a field goal in play as one of the scores you need. The only way that a field goal factors in to one of the scores you need the last 6 minutes is to go for 2 there, cut the lead down to 11, and then you need 8 more and the 3. And instead, now they're down by 12.
You need a big play of something. You need some kind of scoop and score, pick 6, forced fumble, return for a touchdown. You need something big, something out of the ordinary. You're going to have to create something.
Well, now they still need 2 touchdowns in the last 6 minutes.
It's not a great vibe when the supposed to be, not always, but supposed to be neutral play-by-play and color man. Supposed to be. Spend time a minute and 34 seconds if you want to be specific. Just absolutely dogging your coach for what is, I'm sorry, respectfully, an objectively wrong decision. Not like there's gray area and he could come out and say, well, you know, we thought that if we did this, we could chess move, set up this, and it would lead to this. That is the wrong decision objectively. There is no argument. That was dumb. And here's the thing, great one. He did it again. Louisville scored. Clemson scored. They have another opportunity to make it an 11-point game. And again, Dabo elects to kick the extra point, making it a 2-touchdown game instead of a 2-score game.
It makes sense if you don't think you can win.
How does it?
If you don't think you can win, then you're getting your kicker some extra work.
I mean, I'm going to go ahead right now and say, while I respect, and this is a first, ladies and gentlemen, Lonzo coming to the defense of Dabo Swinney.
Nah, I've done it before.
Either way, Lonzo coming to the defense of a Clemson football decision.
How am I defending him? I'm saying he already knew they were going to lose. I mean, that's a loser mentality. I don't know that I'm defending. I'm just giving you ask what reason would you do it? And in my opinion, that's the only reason you do it is because you know you're going to lose.
I will say this. If I ever, and let me emphasize this, ever had a football coach who with 6 minutes left could make it a game or a touchdown and a field goal, tie the game and send it to overtime, and they waved the white flag, I want that coach fired before he gets in the locker room. There is no post-game speech. There is no goodbye. There is no farewell. You want to say goodbye and farewell? Take out a full-page ad in the newspaper on Monday because you don't coach here anymore. I refuse to accept that Dabo was waving the white flag. And I know that he didn't because Clemson got the ball back and they ran the damn ball and they went down and they scored another touchdown. So I don't think the white flag was being waved.
Does the offensive coordinator have any say or anything, or the assistant coaches have any say on what they go for 1 or 2 there? Maybe someone lost that analytics sheet and they couldn't get, and they were having computer problems. They couldn't get it back up where it says, according to analytics, we've got to do this here. And then they didn't know what to do. Is that a possibility?
I don't know.
A lot of people stomping around the stadium. Maybe someone pulled a plug on the cord. I don't know.
What I do know in this spot is that is objectively the wrong decision. Objectively, there is zero. No, I do not waste your breath because I won't hear a word. It'll go in this ear, rattle around in there like a pinball, and come out the other. And the only thing that I will take away from this, if you say, well, actually, Rob, Dabo made the right call, the only thing my brain will hear is,
and let me tell you, you don't know ball.
End of discussion. There is no argument. You go for 2, you make it an 11-point game. Because here's the thing. What's the difference between being down 13 if you don't convert it and 12 if you get the extra point? Not a damn thing.
I don't know how this works as far as, is there someone in his ear going, no, we need to go to 2.
I don't care. I don't care. At that point, be Dabo Swinney and go, hey, Garrett or whoever else, we're going for 2. We're making this a tutty and a field goal game, not a tutty and a tutty game. Can't be a tutty and a tutty game because tutties ain't been easy for us to acquire this evening. So we're going to make it a tutty and an FG game. This is not, again, you don't hear me say this very often. This is not up for debate. This is not a discussion. Dabo Swinney was wrong in this moment. He was objectively, certifiably wrong. And if you're telling me that in that game, at that moment, with that much on the line, and I'm not just talking about the pride of the program, the image of the program, all of which took an enormous sledgehammer this weekend, but with the inside track to an ACC conference championship game appearance, and therefore a battle with probably Miami for an ACC title, which then also earns you a first-round bye in the playoffs. With all that on the line, you're telling me that you looked at the scoreboard and it didn't immediately pop into your brain, we need to go for 2, to the point that you pull that little microphone on the headset down and you go, everyone shut up, we're going for 2. Shut up now. That is a failure with a capital F.
All right, you're giving him the credit. What I'm saying is assistant coaches going, Dabo, what are you doing? We need to go for 2.
No.
And him going, no, we're going for 1.
Objectively wrong decision. However, whatever.
No, you're right. And you said give you a reason. Hey, I'm glad they went for 1. I'm glad they lost. Because first of all, I picked SMU versus Miami in the ACC championship, and now it's looking a little more favorable. But the other thing is, you're harping on this, and you need to, because it was a bad move. They weren't going to beat Louisville anyway. They just weren't. Louisville was the better team that night, and Clemson didn't come to play.
However you want to slice it and dice it, there's one of two things. The team quit. They quit. I'll tell you right now. And you want to know where my frustration with the New Orleans Saints is coming from right now? Because they asses quit. Because they quit in that. They quit in that game. So either the team quit on Dabo or Dabo quit. Either way, I don't want a quitter representing my program. Do you? Of course not. But I don't think that's the case. I don't think the team quit. I don't think they rolled over and just accepted an L with 6 minutes left to play and needing a field goal as one of the 2 scores. A field goal. Yeah, maybe if you need 2 tutties in 6 minutes and Louisville's been able to run the ball on you, and they had. Maybe if you need 2 touchdowns and Louisville's running the ball, maybe in that moment you go, not great. This isn't great. All right. And psychologically, subconsciously, maybe you don't have 100% effort. But if you need a field goal and a touchdown, that feels very attainable. That feels very attainable. Now we're going to go. Full afterburner. Let's go win this game. So either you quit or you got a coach who can't count. That's the only 2 options. You either have a team that quit or you got a coach that can't do numbers. And I'm not talking about long division. I'm not talking rocket science. I'm talking the difference between 11, 12, and 13. That's it. That's it. And the difference between 11 and 12 and the reality that has on a football, the fact that he didn't say, and not once, because I'm going to tell you straight up, I make mistakes like 3 to 7 times a year. It's one thing to make a mistake once and go, oh, how didn't I see that? Right? That's why pencils have erasers. I can see making that mistake once, and then somebody gets in the ear and goes, Coach, we should have gone for 2. We'd have been down 11. We only needed a field goal. And going, oh, okay, well, dang it. I screwed up. That's my bad. That's my bad. It is another thing to make that mistake, have the entirety of college football going, what? And then turn around and do it again. You did it again. Twice in this game, you could have knocked it from a 2-tutty game down to a tutty and a field goal game. And twice, you sent out the field goal. Twice. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? I don't know what to tell you. And look, there's already a Clemson fan up in here going, ding dong may be less cringeworthy without the shade. Listen, I know you're mad at Dabo. I know you're mad at your team. Don't take it out on me. I'm not the one who can't count from 11 to 12. I'm not the one who's making decisions that my 7-year-old nephew playing Madden knows better. I get that you don't want to criticize Dabo. That has been true, and I understand it. I respect it. The man's won you some natties. I understand it. He made Clemson. I get it. No one wants to look at your cool uncle or your grandpa and go, oh, he's kind of a butt. Nobody wants to do that. You love your relatives. But don't come in here and take this out on me. I'm just pointing out what literally that play-by-play man spent a minute and a half rambling on about. Don't get mad at me because I got sunglasses on. Be mad at Dabs because he doesn't know the difference between 11 and 12 in a football game. Don't be mad at Lonzo either because he's about to seduce you with this sports flash.
I've been mad at you every day since you started wearing the sunglasses. The Carolina Panthers picked up win number 2 on the season in a divisional matchup with the New Orleans Saints yesterday. 23-22, Chuba Hubbard scored the game-winning touchdown with just minutes left to play, and the defense killed the Saints' drive late to finish the contest. Bryce Young finished the game 16-26 for 171 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. Carolina travels to Germany to face the Giants Sunday morning. Carolina Hurricanes picked up win number 8 yesterday, 4-2 over the Washington Capitals. The Canes moved to 8-2-0 and moved past Washington for second place in the Metropolitan Division with 16 points in 10 games, just 1 point behind the division leading Rangers. Tune in tonight at 6:30 as Furman Paladins take on the Columbia International Rams in hardcourt action. It's Furman versus CIU right here on your home for Paladins basketball, The Fan, Upstate. All right, Stephen, I got to admit, I don't know who Gary Owen is, but I'm guessing now that you said Mountain Music, is he from Alabama? I think he's trying to look like Wolfman Jack, but, that's a really old reference.
The Dapper Yapper has returned, Emery.
That moniker's been taken. You can't.
I know.
You can't
I'm really bummed about it. It's a good one. Derek Carr is now the first quarterback in NFL history to lose to 31 different NFL teams.
Sweet. So he's got that going for him.
Let's see if I can find what's the one team Derek Carr hasn't lost to. It's got to be the Raiders, right?
I don't know. He probably played the Raiders when he was with whatever team he was with before that.
No, he was drafted by the Raiders. He's only been with the Raiders in
yeah,
it's got to be the Raiders.
Yeah, it has to be the Raiders. Yeah, you're right. Some would say he beat the Raiders every week when he was playing for them, but
Yep, the Raiders. So if we play the Raiders and lose with Derek Carr, he will be the only quarterback in history to have lost to every NFL franchise. The point is, Dorkman, that sports are meaningless in this vernacular. You just kind of come off as a goober trying too hard. Well, I did. We have won the 3 times the Sports Talk Radio Show of South Carolina. So, I mean, yes, sports are meaningless for sure. Sports are meaningless in the grand scheme of things.
Hey, what you want to talk about, Emery?
Yeah.
Since you don't want to.
You want to talk election for the next 48 hours?
Let's not do that.
It's time for a new Christmas tradition. Details and tickets at upstatelights.com.
Are you Courtney and I had this discussion. She went and voted early. I like to go to the poll. I like to have the experience. Do you have a preference?
Well, like anything else, I could get in at Comic-Con Junior or Comic-Con early. I don't want to. I want to be out in the crowd.
I like the experience.
Yeah, I mean, because life is show prep. Just being able to stand there, hear the conversations, seeing what people are, the moods they're in, things like that. Yeah,
Stop trying to look cool. It's unbecoming. I mean, to each their own. Cool.
Emery,
here, baby.
He's a Saints fan. He's in mourning, dude.
That's also true.
I mean,
he's
true. Wearing black. I mean,
As the great Amy Poehler once said, everything hurts and I'm dying. Rashad Beard at 9:00, by the way, to talk Carolina Panther football. And by talk Carolina Panther football, I mean dunk on me for 15 minutes.
Do we have someone coming on to talk Clemson?
8:40.
Okay.
John Blau, Post and Courier.
Okay, all right. Just thought he might want to get a plug. Yeah.
Dorkman. That's going to be my new Twitter handle.
It sounds better being Dorkman.
Dorkman. hour number 3 of the Rob Brown Show starts now. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Fan Upstate. Because I am, of course, a man of the people. He's a man of the people. I will address what Mike is very eager for me to get to. And I respect it. I do.
Well, I mean,
it's an opportunity to dunk a little bit.
You probably should have led the broadcast with this and talked about it many, many times by now. But here we are, nearly at 8:03.
I know.
And you haven't mentioned it once.
Well, that's just because
you're a homer.
I'm a dork with a microphone.
No. You're a homer for the Orange because you're defending them, obviously, or you would have been, right out the gate talking about this travesty.
Obviously, the catastrophe. That was Clemson fans being upset about a call and throwing trash on the
stupidity. Yeah, that. Putting cheerleaders in danger.
Respect to the cheerleaders for running out there and helping to clean up, by the way. That's big of them. I respect that.
And being able to dodge, those water bottles.
Clemson fans very upset about a call made by the officials on the field and start launching trash out onto the pitch. There was a controversial call that was made. And of course, the conversation about the fourth quarter dispute when water bottles and assorted other trash was thrown out onto the grass delayed the game for a few minutes. The conversation obviously harkened back to the Texas-Georgia game. The Texas-Georgia game. By the way, Emery said, do you pay rent for your mom's basement? For the love of God, get a new joke. Get a new joke. The your mom's basement joke is the most exhausted, worthless joke of all time. Not only do I not, my wife and I own a home. We have our own house, Emery. Some of us are big boys.
I'm guessing Potato Head is me.
Yeah, I'm guessing so.
Yeah. Dude, this is melon size. I mean, if you get a potato that size, you could eat on that spud for a while.
Dorkman and Potato Head in the mornings. Welcome to the news show. All right, so obviously the conversation immediately harkened back to the Texas-Georgia game. Texas fans were upset about a call. They began launching refuse out onto the field, and then suddenly the referees turned around and they overturned the call. And Kirby Smart said in the press conference after that game, he said, I fear, I'm paraphrasing, but it's pretty close. I fear that we have just set precedent. That if you're real mad about a call, if you throw enough garbage out onto the pitch, that referees may overturn calls. And here's what I'm going to say. I don't care if you're a Texas fan, if you're a Clemson fan, if you're a Saints fan, if you're a Panther fan, if you're a South Carolina fan, if you're a Navy fan. I don't care if you're a Boise State fan or a Montana State fan or a North or South Dakota fan. I don't care. I don't care. If you throw trash onto the field, you're trash. Okay?
Yeah,
end of conversation.
You shouldn't throw Navy in there because ain't nobody doing that at a Navy game.
By the way, Navy. What are we doing, Navy? We'll come back to that. If you throw trash on the field, you're trash. Okay? And I am going to, as I regularly do.
You got the daggum call wrong. I'm going to try to hit somebody with the water bottle.
For the record, Clemson fans aren't the first fans that have done this, and they won't be the last fans that have done this. Am I going to sit here and go, oh, there it is. See, Clemson fans are trash. No. Was it a trashy moment? Absolutely. Absolutely. It was a trashy moment. And I do place a little bit on it. And for the record, just so we're all very clear, the replay in the Georgia-Texas game that got overturned got correctly overturned. The ruling was correct. The ruling on the field was wrong. The Texas fans who were upset were justified in their upsettedness. They were correct. It was a wrong call, and it got overturned correctly. The unfortunate part was it was the wrong call that got overturned correctly after fans acted the way that they acted. And so the precedent that Kirby Smart was talking about was that the fans were led to believe in that moment that it was their display of anger, disappointment, whatever, that got the call overturned that got the call placed in the right direction, they felt like they were responsible for getting their team into a better spot. And what Kirby was afraid of was that more fans would now believe that if they stopped the game that way, that they could get their team placed into a better position. And that's not how it works. That play was not overturned because Texas fans threw garbage onto the field. That play got overturned because it went to instant replay, and it was very clear and obvious that the play needed to be overturned. Selfishly, what I want to make this conversation about is could have been avoided if you just had a replay official who went, hey, Bob, wrong call. Go ahead and overturn that. And Bob, the head ref, went, you got it. Tweet. After video replay initiated by the replay box, the penalty on the field has been overturned. First down, Texas, right? All of this could have been avoided if we just had replay refs. What I will say is Kirby was right for the wrong reason. And I think Clemson fans just happened to be the first team that bought into that. But just so that we are very clear, if you throw trash onto the field where there are players and referees, and I'm not going to say more or less importantly, but more in the way, cheerleaders and band nerds and state troopers and paramedics and all these people, media members, all of these people who are innocent of the action on the field, disconnected from the action on the field. They are just people out there doing whatever their responsibility is, cheerleading, taking pictures, preparing should a player be injured, etc., etc. Whatever the reasoning is, you put those people in danger, and you put those people in danger for no good reason at all. Kirby was right for the wrong reason. The Texas fans didn't get that replay overturned. Now, you can argue that, and I don't know that this is true or not. I have not found out this or not. It could be argued that the replay was only looked at because Texas fans stopped the play on the field by hurling themselves, I mean garbage, out onto the grass. You can make that argument, and I don't know if that argument is true or not, and I don't want to speculate. I'm saying that's the only argument that you could justify. But I don't think that we need to have some big, deep, introspective conversation, and we're going to. This conversation is going to happen on radio and television shows around the country today. I don't think we need to have some big introspective conversation about the results and ramifications of the Georgia-Texas game and whether or not fans are now justified or not justified to throw trash because the referees did this and the coaches did this and the result was this and the penalty was this and the overtime. No. Don't throw trash on the field. Don't throw trash on the field. I've had this conversation with friends of mine who are parents, and even Rob, the work warrior, has frequently told friends of mine, you don't have to justify your parenting decisions to your 6-year-old child. Sometimes it is perfectly acceptable to just say, because I said so. End of discussion, small child. Because I said so. That's why. Now, do I believe that it is a good, I'm not a parent, so take this as you will or completely throw it away. I don't particularly care. Is it a good idea at times to explain to your youth, to your spawn, why you say no to the thing that they really want? Yeah, because it helps them develop an innate understanding of the world and logic and critical thinking. No. You can't have the chocolate right now. And you can't have the chocolate right now because. Now, in the moment when you're in the grocery store checkout line and they're throwing that Snickers bar up onto the little moving conveyor belt thing and you say no and they say, why? And you say, because I said so. In that moment, that's a perfectly reasonable response. It is fine to circle back around later and say, can't have the chocolate bar because I don't have extra money to pay for it. You've already had too many calories today, and we got too many fat children running around right now. Whatever your response might be, okay? It's fine to explain. But in the moment, sometimes you just got to go, because I said so. In this moment, college football needs to have a because I said so moment with fans. Listen and hear me well, college football fans. If you throw trash onto the football field, you are ejected from the stadium and you will not be coming back. You will be banned from this stadium. You are creating a detrimental and unsafe environment for everyone down there on the field. There is no why. There is no conversation. There is no discussion. It doesn't matter who you're a fan of, and it doesn't matter where you are. We have, and we know this, thousands of video cameras around every stadium. I am talking from D2 up to the NFL. There are thousands of cameras, everything from high-tier professional television broadcast cameras down to Jim in section 303 that's got his cell phone out filming fans throwing trash onto the field. Because you know, as soon as somebody launches water bottle numero uno, there are going to be folks that are grabbing the camera and pointing it at that person and going, oh, that guy just threw a water bottle, and waiting for the next guy to do it. It's real simple. Find the footage, find the people who did it, boot they ass from the stadium, and put them on the banned list. This isn't something we need to have. You're going to hear it today. You're going to hear it today. You're going to have a gazillion people out there that are going, well, you know, how does this reflect on the Georgia-Texas game? And, you know, the referees overturn the call, and if they overturn the call, aren't you conditioning the I don't care about any of that. Some of the most harsh discipline I received as a child was when my old man would sit down and look me in the face and say to me, I don't need to explain to you what you did wrong because you know better. You know better. You know better. You know the actions you took. You know why they're detrimental. You know why they are bad. I don't have to tell you. College football fans know that this is unacceptable. It's been unacceptable always and forever. At the beginning of every football game, the PA guy grabs the mic and he says, please do not throw any items onto the field of play. Anyone caught throwing items onto the field of play will be removed and banned from the... Do that. Do that. Clemson should be right now in the office of the athletic department looking at television broadcast cameras, looking at social media platforms from fan records, whatever, looking at every social media camera that they have on their marketing team. And they should be going frame by frame to see every time somebody launches trash onto the field. And every one of those people should receive an email today that says you are no longer welcome in stadiums. And make an example. And if they won't make an example, this is a spot where, you know, the NCAA doesn't get the opportunity to flex muscles very often, right? This is where the SEC or the NCAA doesn't have a ton of opportunity to prove that, hey, we're not just a toothless, feckless organization. We're not just a bunch of doobs in suits who are here to collect a paycheck and wait for our inevitable demise when the SEC and the Big Ten join forces and make us irrelevant. We can do some stuff. There's a great chance. The NCAA and the conferences themselves need to bring the hammer down and go, no, you get caught throwing something onto the field, you are done. You will not be supporting your football team in person anymore. It's real simple. You can't have it. There's no need for a deep philosophical conversation. The NCAA and the conference can look fans in the face and go, you're gone because I said so. End of discussion. End of conversation. Also, the end of the segment. John Blau from the Post and Courier talks Clemson football at 8:40. Rashad Beard of the Panther Nation podcast at 9 a.m. All coming up on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Thank you, Emery. I appreciate that. I might pop that up on the on our stream banner. You know, fascinating to say the least. No, I got to tell you, Emery, I'm enjoying spending my life this way. They give me money to come in here and talk about sports. How's your day going, bud? I'm getting paid for this. What do you think about Carr's response to Michael Thomas? Trey, I don't have enough money to pay you to be my therapist about all of this right now. I wish I did. Emery's right. I'm very poor, and I should find a better way to spend my life.
Going to mom's basement to go to the
Give me 30 seconds, guys. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Please and thank you.
Mom said, could you keep it down? Would you take out the trash today? You said you'd do it yesterday.
Emery, actually, 13 people are watching across all our platforms. I got to tell you, bud, we're killing the game out here. Because, again, you don't have to like it. Lonzo and I are getting paid right now. Right now.
Are you a professional troll? Do you get paid to troll?
I got to tell you, man, like, you are running out the hits of the worst trolls on Twitter right now. Like, be like, I'm down for some being insulted, but like,
I do appreciate the all caps though.
You're trotting out the most baseline, boring insults in the game. My man, we don't push the stream because we are a radio show.
Should have went with Goober, not Gomer. Yeah, I mean, Goober's more popular in the South than Gomer.
I do appreciate a good Gomer Pyle reference, though.
It's pretty dated. That would mean that he's probably an older guy.
Oh, I think he was talking about you.
Or someone pretending to be an older guy. Oh, maybe.
Thank you, Emery. I'm just gonna leave that up there. I'll just leave that up for this segment. I appreciate you saying that. It's very kind of you. Emery's not a bot, Mac. He's just somebody that's really upset that I get to do this for a living, and he doesn't, which is fine. Everybody's got their skills and talents.
We could have blocked him already, but he's showing how awesome he is with every comment. So.
When he's going to compliment me, like telling me I'm a star and he loves my glasses, he can stay.
No, they're your she glasses. No, he said she glasses. She cool glasses.
Well, I actually said love 5 he cool shades.
Oh, see now it's
there it is. Oh, Rob's a girl. I'm telling you, just running out the kindergarten playground hits out here. He called me a girl. How will I ever recover from that burn? I have to tell you, I feel the need to call an ambulance for that burn. Does anyone have any aloe vera for that burn?
No, Diddy took all that. Very short supply on that stuff. Yeah, because he wouldn't have seen your comments otherwise, Stephen. If indeed it is a he. We're probably rich on some sort of list. Yeah, something like that. Wait a minute. What's that? Okay. I don't know what that word is.
I switched, Trey, right after the wedding because I picked up the Italian shades and I spent enough money on them that I was like, you know what? These are just going to become a part of the thing. My yellow colored ones came in yesterday, but I didn't want to wear those today because with the black and yellow, it would have looked like I was supporting the New Orleans Saints, and I don't do that.
Or Pittsburgh. And your boy Russell Wilson.
That's true. They do wear black and yellow.
New life next break.
New life next break. Oh, sorry, Emery. When he tells me that, what it means is somebody pays me to talk about them. So anyway, I'm real sad about my career. That people just give me money to say their name. Tough life out here on the streets. All right, we're going to talk to John Blau of the Post and Courier about this Clemson game coming up in the next segment. So I'll spend another minute or two on it right here. Clemson got outcoached. Hands down, not a question, statement of fact. They just got outright, flat out, top to bottom, outcoached. Got a couple of texts, by the way. Got a couple of texts that have come in saying how, from Clemson fans, I'm more embarrassed by the trash than the game. Yeah, and that's good. It's commendable. You should be. It's one thing to have your team play bad football. It's another thing to have your fans just look bad on national television. And that's what happened. But let's dial in. Let's focus in on the game. Clemson got flat out and entirely outcoached in this one. And that's one thing. Do you remember, just so I can prove that I keep it a buck when it needs to be kept a buck, do you remember when South Carolina a few weeks ago got absolutely hammered by Ole Miss? If you do, I think what you will likely remember is what I was the most upset about. It wasn't the loss. The loss happens, okay? The losses in the SEC especially are going to happen. There are very few teams that are making the undefeated run. What I was most upset about in that game was the fact that the South Carolina Gamecocks were coming off of the bye week. And the game plan was bad. Was bad and was poorly executed. Yeah, I was mad about the discipline of the team. I can't have my guys out there pretending like they're emptying a clip out of an AK into a quarterback after they sack him. You got to know that's 15. I was disappointed in the execution across the offensive line in that game. It was bad. I can't have that. I was mad about the discipline. But at the end of the day, the football players doing football player things, especially as a young team, being jacked up, being excited, being ready to go in those moments. I think I can work on that. I can go in the film room and I can replay Dylan Stewart's gun celebration and I can go, you guys think this is fun? You guys think this is football? Because that was 15 yards in a game where we were getting our asses kicked. We good with that? You guys good with that? And I feel like that'll stick. I can work on that. Discipline is something that can be instilled. What I can't do anything about, at least not that I jump out at, there is only one person who can fix something that plagued South Carolina coming off their bye with Ole Miss, and now Clemson coming off of their bye headed into that game against Louisville. The only thing the only person who can fix it was Shane Beamer and Dabo Swinney, the head coach. When you come off a bye, especially in this case, and we'll just use this one for right now because this is, well, what we're talking about. When you come off a bye and you've got Louisville right there, what you can't have, and this was our concern, our fear going into this week, what I can't have is a Clemson team that's looking ahead to going up to Blacksburg and playing in one of the most difficult college football stadiums to play in, Lane Stadium in Blacksburg, West Virginia. Blacksburg, Virginia. What I certainly can't have is have this team looking 2 games ahead to the only remaining ranked team on the regular season schedule, the number 19 Pitt Panthers. I can't have them looking that far ahead. I got to have you dialed in for Louisville. And if you're dialed in for Louisville, I need you to have a game. I need you to have a game plan. I need you to know what you want to do to come in and attack this team, this defense, whatever. And Clemson didn't just get beat. And they got beat. They got beat at the line of scrimmage. That's why Louisville ran for 200 yards. They got beat in their own backfield. The defensive line was whipping with a capital WH, the Clemson offensive line. It put Cade Klubnik on his back feet. He got the happy feet. He started slicing and dicing old school Peyton Manning style, but without the Peyton Manning accuracy. And he fell apart. And that's off the bye. The folks that have been for the past year and a half or two questioning Dabo Swinney, as far as I am concerned, those criticisms are now very valid. Now, this is why I said, I think both South Carolina and Clemson got program-defining results this weekend. Now, again, we won't know that for certain until we see Clemson break the narrative about them this week. And South Carolina continue the narrative that they wrote last weekend. Here's the thing about Clemson. The narrative has been the narrative for 2-3 seasons in a row now. The narrative has been Dabo's reluctance, I won't say outright refusal, but reluctance to use the transfer portal, his reluctance to buy into name, image, and likeness funding, his reluctance to participate in 2024 college football, I believe has caught up with him now. Because you don't have the dogs. And, there are times where if 2 teams come in and both of them have a great game plan and they're both executing and things are great, the team that has the better athletes is going to win. And if a team has 2 or 3 or 4 levels better athletes, as Clemson has had for a number of years now, if they have athletes that just on paper are clearly better than the other team, they should be able to win football games, even if the game plan's not going great. But not only do you not have that anymore, and it is evident, you have a good team, but your team is not standing out like the 2018 Clemson Tigers did. Yeah, good team. and you come into a game like this with a bad game plan, you're not going to win like you used to. Those days are gone at this point. But it's not just that you came in with a bad game plan. It's that you came in with a bad game plan against a team that had a very good game plan. And you did it coming off the bye week. There's no excuse for a coaching staff on the level of Clemson's to come out of a bye week and look bad. And the reason I say that is because I said the same thing about South Carolina 4 weeks ago or whatever it was. If you want to be a genuine SEC contender, and I think South Carolina's pointed in that direction. I do. I'm optimistic. But if you want to be a genuine contender, you cannot come off of the bye week without a game plan. Or with a bad game plan. You can't do it. And in watching that game on Saturday, everything Clemson wanted to do, Louisville was prepared for, responded to, and prevented you from doing it. And then you add that onto the fact that in a spot where Clemson could go for 2, and if they are successful, create a game where they only need a touchdown and a field goal, but instead elect to kick the extra point, which is effectively meaningless. Because whether you successfully kick the PAT or not, you are either down 12 or 13. Either way, you need 2 touchdowns. That's it. You have to have it. So when I have a bad overall game plan, and my guys are not executing, and I'm making elementary level coaching mistakes like Dabo did. And again, I don't mean to repeatedly bang the drum on Dabo Swinney, but at the end of the day, he's a head coach. Everything that happens on the field, he is responsible for. So even if somebody else ran out there and grabbed the kicker and said, get out there and kick the ball, the fact that it was kicked is on him. So I had a poor game plan coming off the bye week and then compounded it with a group of players that clearly were not ready for this game, and then compounded that with elementary level mistakes on the coaching horn. That's program defining. Because what can I point at and go, that went well? Your fans look bad. Your coaching staff look bad. Your game plan look bad. Your players look bad. These are the things that begin the slide down. And I am now very concerned that the slide down for Clemson is real. John Blau with the Post and Courier joins us next on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
Good luck.
All right, guys, one more. I'll stay right there. I'll be back with John Blau after this. is up, friends? It's Rob Brown. I hope you're enjoying the show. If you're not, I don't know why you're here, but I am glad that you are. Hey, do us a favor. Whether you're enjoying it or not, would you mind sharing us around your social media, please? And thank you, Twitter, X, whatever you call it. I don't care. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, it doesn't matter to me. Help us get the good word out. We're trying to get famous and rich, and we can't do it without your help. So, The Rob Brown Show is on all social media, or share the YouTube channel, the Facebook page, wherever you're watching this, and we'd appreciate it very much. Now, let's get back to the show. Stick around. The Rob Brown Show continues. It is the Fan Upstate. Saturday night in Clemson, South Carolina. The Clemson Tigers fall to the Louisville Cardinals, 33-21. Your final score in this one. To break down what went wrong, he joins us every Monday morning at 8:40 a.m. to talk Clemson sports. John Blau covers the Tigers for the Post-Courier, makes his weekly appearance here on the show. John, my man, happy Monday morning. I'm sure it's not super happy around Clemson, South Carolina, but that's the way the ball bounces sometimes.
Yeah, that's why we cover sports, because you never know what's going to happen. Sometimes it's good for you, sometimes it's bad for you if you're a fan. So but yeah, not a great day for Clemson, but still sort of in the ACC race. Things just not in their control anymore.
Yeah, without a doubt. John Blau from the Post and Courier here on the Rob Brown Show. Let's start with the 30,000-foot view, John Blau. If I asked you to tell me a few things that you think primarily went wrong that caused this shocking L, and I think that's a fair word to use for the Clemson Tigers, what would you say were a few of the primary reasons?
Yeah, I would say number one, just the inability to stop the run. I mean, you give up 210 yards on the ground. Isaac Brown's a really good player for Louisville, but just to allow him to kind of rumble the way he did, Louisville being 6.2 yards per play, just being way more explosive than you. And then just offensively, never really picking up momentum until the very end of the game. I mean, I just go back to, there was a 3rd and 8. They were, Clemson was up 7-3. Antonio Williams was open across the middle of the field. Cade Klubnik, for some reason, seemed to be keying on Brian Wesco underneath of him, who really wasn't open. Ball gets deflected at the line of scrimmage. Tristan Lee catches a 9-yard loss, and then you have to punt the ball. You easily could have gotten a first down. You're charging down the field, maybe get a touchdown lead if you kick a field goal. Maybe you're up 14-3, and then that Clemson kind of gains confidence and momentum. That just never really happened for the offense till the very end of the game. So, if Louisville's more explosive than you and they're running the ball on you and you're offensively not making the simple plays to be able to kind of move the ball down the field and gain some momentum, then that's a really kind of a disastrous combination.
John Blau from the Post and Courier joining us here on the Rob Brown Show. We've attacked the play of Cade Klubnik, 33 of 56, 228 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. I'm hesitant to say that the outside looking in Heisman Trophy campaign has come to its conclusion, John. And the reason I say that is offensive line was just getting beat at the point of attack. Phil Maffa was probably the one bright spot, 171 yards in this contest, but it felt like Louisville defensively up front was doing whatever they wanted, and it kind of created a world where Cade Klubnik was spending as much time running for his life as he was being able to sit down, diagnose a play, and get rid of the football. And for me, offensively, I understand the run game was working for Clemson, but it wasn't doing enough to give Cade the time to sit down and let plays develop.
Yeah, early in the game, it wasn't. I mean, a lot of those yards offensively were Clemson came at the very end of the game when it seemed like there was just kind of a urgency there. I don't know what changed that they were able to kind of make some of those drives. But yeah, for the most part, we talk about this a lot with Cade. I mean, a lot of his success this year is the pieces around him, the offensive line being better, the running game being good, having more receiving options. And yeah, he did not look as comfortable in this game because Louisville, that's probably the best pass rush anybody's gotten on Klubnik all year. He just did not look comfortable at times. And like you said, running around a lot. There were some drops. I mean, the run game wasn't really picking up huge chunks. It just wasn't really great around him either for that, for most of the game. He definitely, again, made some mistakes. I go back to that 3rd and 8. If he kind of makes the right read there, he gets the ball to Antonio Williams, and maybe things change a little bit. But at the same time, it was not the offensive line's best game. It was not the most comfortable he's been. And, receivers wise, I mean, I'm not keying on that the entire game, but it didn't look like there were a ton of guys running wide open that he missed either. So, I wouldn't say, this game's all on Cade. It wasn't his best game, but I think it just really wasn't the offense's best game in general for Clemson.
We talked a little bit about this in the last segment, John Blau. The discussion is inevitably, call the shot, not going to shock anybody, going to revolve back to, this is because of Dabo in the portal. This is because they just don't have rosters with as much talent like they used to back in the day. When this conversation takes over the sports media landscape today, and I believe that it will, what's the response to that going to be, do you think, from Clemson, from Dabo, if they humor it at all?
Yeah, I don't think he'll humor it much at all. But, I mean, it is kind of weird to think, a week ago, I think it was Matt Berry from ESPN. It was on with Paul Feinbaum. And obviously, Paul Feinbaum, famous kind of critic of Dabo Swinney in these last few years. And they were talking about, Matt Berry was, about how this, portal strategy for Dabo might end up being, quote unquote, victorious. And felt like the narrative was really changing all of a sudden. It was kind of crazy. And then obviously, they lose a game like this and the narrative will kind of go back to what it was. There are quibbles to be had. I mean, you can obviously criticize and say maybe there are spots here and there where an upgrade could have helped. I mean, you look at kind of obviously Peter Woods got hurt in the middle of the game, but if you have more depth at defensive end, you're getting more pressure on Tyler Shuck. Is that game a little bit different? Obviously, you can't stop the run against Louisville. That's kind of weird to see from a Clemson team. There are some areas where you kind of look at it and say, yeah, there would be some wisdom if there were a couple of ads here or there, or if there just weren't a couple of recruiting misses here or there. But, when you don't use the portal, you're kind of reducing your margin for error there in terms of recruiting. But the criticism is valid to a degree, but is it the reason they lost Louisville? Is it the reason they might miss the playoff again? I don't know if it's the sole reason. Again, recruiting misses, maybe NIL in terms of the money being there to get some of these guys in the transfer portal. I think there's a lot of reasons. And I think Dabo Swinney feels like he's doing the best thing for his program. And have they fallen off from where they were? Yeah, they're not, where they were in terms of the top 3 or 4 programs in college football right now, but they are still in the top 25. They still are a pretty good program. So, the criticism is valid, but to what degree, I guess is the question.
The question about legacy, obviously, I think comes next. I mean, we've had the conversation plenty of times. Dabo Swinney, Clemson lifer. I mean, the guy made the program into what it is. But John Blau, I don't know how you see it. And again, a lot of this interview is kind of opinion subjective from me. Saturday night when I got on social media, and we all know what social media is, man, cesspool for the worst and loudest fans to get their attention. But it was the first time that I saw a lot of "this isn't good enough" posts from Clemson fans that ordinarily, at least in my timeline, in my circle, are the ones that go out of their way to either defend Dabo or at least kind of block the criticism a little bit. And there really wasn't a whole lot of this going on. Based on your interaction with fans, the social media landscape at all, do you kind of feel like the mentality is shifting around this program that, okay, now we've hit the low of where we are accepting this program being, or am I making too much of it?
That's an interesting question. Obviously, in terms of panic that I've seen over the last several years, I don't know if this is the worst. I remember the Duke game, the loss to Duke. That it was pretty bad after that, starting 4-4, 4-3 start in 2021, right after the playoff run. I mean, there have been different points where everybody's been a little panicked. I do think maybe this one is just kind of the straw that broke the camel's back in terms of, this might just be where Clemson is. Where you expected them to beat a Louisville and they were gaining all this momentum offensively and all that. Maybe this just is where they are. But at the same time, people don't remember going back into the playoff era. Clemson lost at home to Pittsburgh and then went on that 40-game home winning streak. They lose games periodically. This is football. These are human beings. I just think there's been there's been a layering of this for so many years now where people are starting to kind of maybe feel like this just is what it is. I guess I'm not quite ready to go there, trying to be more, like say 30,000 feet objective about it. It's still a young football team. They're going to bring a lot of players back next year. They still have a lot of talent. They can still make the ACC title game. It's not completely over. But at the same time, I do understand just with everything that's happened over the years, kind of why people feel the way they feel. And a loss at home, a place where Clemson rarely ever lost, never lost night games, never lost home games after buys. I mean, doing things they don't normally do. I do understand why this one felt pretty bad for people and why they're kind of, getting to that place of maybe doubt in Dabo Swinney in the program and a little cynicism there.
The big thing that took place, at least on the television broadcast of this game, John Blau, was not once but twice Dabo sends out the extra point team instead of going for 2 to make it an 11-point game. Both extra points leave it at a 12-point game. Obviously need 2 touchdowns, whereas an 11-point game, touchdown, 2-pointer, and the field goal would have tied that game up. Was there any explanation from Dabo Swinney or any of the coaching staff about why that decision got made? Because they were getting roughed up pretty good by the play-by-play guys who, jobs to be objective. They certainly in that spot weren't. Was there any explanation as to why Clemson went for the extra points and those 2 touchdowns late in the game?
Yeah, I think he said that their sheet told them to do that. That they have a sheet that tells them, what situations you go for 2 and which you go for 1. They kind of had that pre-charted out, and I think they just had it charted out that you go for 1 for whatever reason. I don't remember the exact explanation. It was really, I understand it was a big thing they talked about in the broadcast, but it wasn't the thing that I think most of us were thinking about after the game. I know it was asked about, but yeah, just their math for whatever reason told them that was the best thing to do. Maybe you can second guess them there. Maybe they should have went for 2. At the end of the day, they needed a couple more scores anyway to win the game, and they didn't get those couple scores. So yeah, I get why people were questioning it, but don't really have a great explanation other than just that's what Dabo Swinney said the chart told them to do.
John Blau from the Post and Courier joining us here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Spent a little bit more time on this week's game than we usually do, but this team on the road at Virginia Tech, we all know that's a tough place to play. Good news for Clemson is slated as a 3:30 game, not a nighttime game out in Plattsburgh. John Blau, just give me your overall thoughts on this game at Virginia Tech. Is there a bounce back in store for Clemson here?
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting question, I guess, TBD. But, this is a Virginia Tech team, just lost to Syracuse. I mean, they were kind of an enigma in terms of, they had kind of a weird slow start to the year, started to heat up a little bit. And again, like I said, lost to Syracuse. And, it's kind of hard to read kind of where they're going to be at. It is in Blacksburg. That's a tough environment. But like you said, also just, not at night, it's kind of that midday kind of game. Maybe that plays in their favor. I would think, Clemson at least is going to be, pretty pissed off after what happened. I mean, I would think they're pretty motivated. You would think this, again, is a team that's still young, but it has enough guys that have been around and have in the past helped steady things after some devastating losses. You would think that Clemson responds and has a better game. But, it remains to be seen. You never know. I mean, I think back 2 years ago, Clemson finished the year 3-3. After that great start. I don't think that happens this year, but you never know. So we just have to wait and see.
John Blau covers the Clemson Tigers for the Post and Courier, joins us every single Monday at 8:40. My man, I appreciate it. I know it's going to be a busy week for you getting ready for Virginia Tech after that L, but we appreciate the time as always, and we'll talk to you next week, my man.
Sounds good. Thanks, Rob.
You got it. John Blau from the Post and Courier every Monday morning at 8:40. When we come back here in just a minute, I'm not going to take any medicine about the Saints' loss to the Carolina Panthers because I didn't say a damn word last week. Not a one, because I knew this was going to happen. All right? I knew this was going to happen. So Rashad Beard of the Panther Nation podcast will stop by in the next segment, and he's going to do his best to try to bait me into it, to try to get into my fees a little bit. And it's not going to work, Rashad. It's not going to work. Rashad Beard after Lonzo seduces you with this sports flash.
All he's got to do is say scoreboard. The Carolina Panthers
they asked you.
Picked up win number 2 on the season in a divisional matchup with the New Orleans Saints yesterday. 23-22, Chuba Hubbard scored the game-winning touchdown with just minutes left to play, and the defense killed a Saints drive late to finish the contest. Bryce Young finished the game 16-26 for 171 yards, 1 touchdown and 1 interception. Carolina travels to Germany to face the Giants Sunday morning. The University of South Carolina was fined $250,000 by the Southeastern Conference after fans stormed the field following the Gamecocks' 44-20 win over number 10 Texas A&M in Williams-Brice Stadium. The school was fined for its second violation under the policy. Make sure you tune in tonight at 6:30 as Furman Paladins take on the Columbia International Rams in hardcourt action. It's Furman versus CIU right here on your home for Paladins basketball. It's us. It's the Fan Upstate. Zach, as far as Ohio State goes, remember, I'm a Kansas City Chiefs fan. And as a Kansas City Chiefs fan, every game is whoever has the ball last. And it was that kind of game between Ohio State and Penn State. And so I was a little less nervous than what I would be if I were not a Chiefs fan. I'm still not entirely sold on Will Howard. He did show me a little bit Saturday. Is he a national champion, though? I don't know. We'll see. I hope so. Plus, my wife watches Angry. So, I mean, I got to deal with her jumping up and stomping and screaming and, you know, because she's a big-time fan. She watches even if I'm not home, if I have to work or something. So, the kids know not to call the house during the Buckeye game, not to text, not to do anything. You even have to put the cat up. Still got Indiana on the horizon, and of course, hopefully a rematch with Oregon in the Big Ten championship.
Ain't a joke, boys. The Hoosiers ain't a joke. All right, here comes the most regrettable 15 minutes of my day.
Oh, stop that. Stop that.
Listen, Rashad made it very clear. I watched the entire post-game stream of the Panther Nation podcast today. I showed up, Rashad. I came in the chat. I took my lumps. All right.
He did.
My guy on the show today. He specifically said, "Can I do Monday? Because I can't do Thursday, and I need to dunk." And here he is. Welcome,
you
buddy.
absolutely need to dunk. I'm still
Rashad, you know what Rashad said? Rashad said, "Rob and Big Q might be the only Saints fans I like."
It's true. These are facts. These are facts.
He's trying to be nice to you. That's all. He shouldn't. You shouldn't. I mean, after your dismal performance Friday when your team was playing and you didn't come in and talk some smack.
Yeah.
It's just, but it's,
do you see what happened? There's a reason for it.
So that's what I mean. You still got to rep your team, dude.
Son, I went to the game.
It's the most disappointed I've ever been on this program.
I went to
this
the game.
award-winning program.
I met up with Rashad. We kept the brown liquor tradition alive. I wore my gear. I could have just gone in a black t-shirt and just hid in the corners, but I didn't. I owned it.
Yeah, he did. He owned it. He owned it for sure.
I showed up in the post-game chat and let the Panther fans get at me for a minute. It was rough. Our next guest is here. Go ahead. Go ahead, bro. Have at it. Gone. Have a good time.
Can I get a proper introduction for a winner, please?
Yeah, I this is disappointing. All right. First Friday, and now, I mean, intro Rashad Wright. I mean, come on.
Our next guest just watched his football team win their 4th game in 2 years. And unfortunately, he had to do it at the expense of my garbage-ass football team with my garbage head coach and my Rashad Beard is the host of the #1 Carolina Panther podcast in all of the land. It is one that if you are a fan of silver and blue football and you're not subscribed on the YouTube channel, you're just doing it wrong. And a man that even when I know my team is eating an L and officially, thank you for the crown, Rashad Beard, crowning us the worst team in the NFL, I will still show up and put down some brown liquor with him at halftime. Rashad Beard in the house now. Go on, young man. Have a good time, but I'll just be over here if you need me.
Yeah, I greatly appreciate that wonderful introduction. For, a winner's introduction. I greatly appreciate it. A great game yesterday. This is kind of what Panther Nation needed. We needed a W in some way, shape, form, or fashion, and we got it against an ailing Saints team. And listen, as much as I saw what happened on X with the former players. You got guys kind of dumping on the team, and it just feels good to see the Saints in all kinds of
You got guys on the team dumping on the team, Rashad. This is a new level of broken, dude.
By the way,
Yeah,
why are you smirking when he said good game? As I said earlier, I thought it was a good game. Yeah, I mean,
good game.
when your team wins, no matter how bad they look they won.
I want you to know, I met Rashad at halftime. I bought the shots because I'm a good guy. And I said to him and Carlo, who was there too, I said to both of them, this is an ugly game. And Rashad said, yes, it is. So don't let him pull this, oh, it was a good game. It was a good result, Rashad. Not a good game. It was the ugliest damn football game I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, it was ugly, but sometimes you got to win ugly. Sometimes that's what you need to do. And when you learn how to win ugly, you can win pretty down the road. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. We just got to get the W, and that's what we did on Sunday. So we'll take that, Mr. Rod Brown. We don't care how we win. We got the W.
Oh, listen, I respect it. I respect it. I'm in the side. We have the same record now. All right, we have lost 7 games in a row. Listen, I'm a call it square right now. I think you beat New York and Germany this week. I do not think the New Orleans Saints win this week. I think we eat L number 8 because, again, my team is broken right now. I think by Sunday night, by the time we go to sleep, Rashad Beer, the Carolina Panthers will be above the New Orleans Saints in the division.
Yeah, I firmly agree with that. I'm going to Germany to watch my team in person over across the pond. So that's going to be great. And yeah, this is what we need. The Panthers need this. We need a little bit of momentum. We need something to look forward to and stack some W's. I feel great about, and I've been on this show and other shows and just talking about how, we need to start Bryce Young and allow him to get some confidence. And it wasn't a perfect game by any means, but he did what he needed to do to get the W. You look at the stat line, of course, it's not going to look great, but when you get, when XL, your big body wide receiver gets the balls taken from him, that's not on Bryce Young. That was beautiful ball placement, and the DB just made a better play. So when you look deeper into the numbers, Bryce Young is starting to play a little bit better, and that's all we can ask for. That's what I've been asking for. Just play him, and let's see what happens. And then by the end of the year, we can make a determination.
I just wanted him to give me a look when I said I wanted to ask a question. He's just not happy. A lot of people on the stream are asking this question, and I am curious about this too. Your opinion? Shouldn't they have lost if they want a better draft pick? Should they be tanking? It bothers me when people ask that question.
I hate that because you can't please everybody. Like we are in the most win-win scenario we can actually be in, right? You play Bryce Young. If he plays well, then you have a franchise quarterback. Like, ultimately, that's the goal for the Carolina Panthers, is to find out whether you have a franchise quarterback or not. So if you play Bryce Young, he can be the guy, right? That's the ultimate goal, is to find out whether Bryce Young is going to be the guy or not. And if he is, that's great news.
I want to call a timeout, and I want to keep the discussion right here. But, Rashad Beard, I'm going to do something I don't normally play. Don't normally do. I'm going to play a sound clip for us here, and I would just like your knee-jerk reaction to it. And I think you already know what I'm going to play, but I'm going to play it anyway.
How would you assess Bryce Young's day today?
Solid. I got to look at the whole thing, got to watch the film and all that stuff. But he came up big in some critical moments, and gave us an opportunity a couple of times. So, again, just proud of the step that he took again, just taking all the things we're asking him to do, getting us to the right plays at the right time. So a great step.
Are you ready to name him starter for next week?
Not yet. We'll take in all the information, watch the film. We got to process. We got to make sure we look at all this stuff. And we'll let you guys know, in the next couple of days.
It was his first game-winning touchdown drive of his career. What would hold you back from naming him the starter?
Again, just looking at all the information we have, taking a look at the film, all that stuff, and making sure that we make the best decision for the team.
Pop off, young man.
Yeah, I think it's stupid. I think this is the most just show some confidence in the. He's coming up on the best games he ever played in his career, right? Show a little bit of confidence in the guy and say, hey, look, Bryce Young is going to start until he gives me a reason to not start him. Just say it. I don't understand what's so difficult about showing a little bit of confidence. Maybe you're trying to play these little mind games with them to say, oh, you got to earn it. That's just dumb. Just say you're going to start the guy so that we can get some continuity going here until he gives me a reason not to. I don't understand what's so difficult about that.
It's Bryce Young's not his guy. I mean, that's what it seems like. It's not his guy. He's looking forward to bringing his guy in. At least that's what I'm reading into it.
Well, yeah, that's fair. But the guy's playing okay. I understand that you may not, you may be on the fence about him being the guy moving forward and him being the guy in the future, but he's going to give you the best opportunity to win right now. I don't care about Andy Dalton and what he did in that one little game. That was cool. Bryce Young right now is the best of the two. Let him play. Let him figure it out. Let him get a little bit of momentum behind him, and let's get this thing going. And let's find out truly if Bryce Young is the guy for the future, because that is what's best for the Carolina Panthers. You invested all this money or all this capital into Bryce Young. Let's find out if he's the guy. That's best for the Carolina Panthers, not Andy Dalton or anybody else. Bryce is best for business.
So there, I for the record, I agree with all that. And for the record, at least down here in the upstate of South Carolina, there's been one cat that has been defending Bryce Young the entire ride since he showed up there. But putting that to the side, there's one more theory floating out there, Rashad Beard. The NFL trade deadline is tomorrow. There's some teams in the market for a QB, and the belief is if BY ain't the guy and Dave Canales does not want to continue to work with him, even if you grab a 4th, 5th round pick for Bryce Young, there's some folks out there that think we see his name at the headline of a paper sometime in the next 24 hours.
And I support that. Like, if he's not your guy, then trade him. But let's not, once he's here, like, let's be here. And there's been all kind of rumors. He's not going to be traded. He's going to be traded. A couple folks have come out and drew a line in the sand on that. I firmly believe they're not going to trade him. I think he's going to be around for a little bit. But if you are going to trade him, then so be it. I support that, because if you're going to move on, let's cut ties. You just paid somebody to take Deontay Johnson from us. If you really feel that way, then off Bryce and let's move on. But if that's not the case, start the man and let him finish the season.
Here's the way I put it earlier, Rashad. At tomorrow night, Bryce Young needs to either be QB1 or on a different roster. Nothing else. Either QB1 or on a different team.
Agreed. I agree. 100% agree.
Rashad Beard from the Panther Nation podcast usually joins us on Thursday, but he's going to be over in Deutschland as the Panthers are on the road against the New York, on a plane against the New York Giants over in Germany coming up on Sunday. Chuba Hubbard in this game. Couple of big moments, including the game-sealing touchdown, which, listen, man, the drive was good. You whipped our ass at the point of attack pretty much all game long, and Chuba did what you, Rashad Beard, have been asking this team to do with Chuba Hubbard all season long. They did it, and it was directly the consequence of a dub.
Yeah, run the ball, run the football, man. I scream that up in the stands every game. Just run the football, man. Chuba Hubbard's a good running back, having a good season. I think he only had 15 carries. I want to see him hit 20 carries. Like, give him 25 plus carries in a game. Let him dominate. Let him be RB1. He's playing well, looking good. And when we needed him at the end of the game, he delivered. And so continue giving him the football and let him show that he's RB1, man. I like it. Keep running the football for sure. Love it.
I totally agree. And I'll tell you the other thing, and we talked a little bit about this last week. I think another 2-3 weeks, it might matter more. But I think the best thing about Chuba Hubbard being able to run the ball like he did on Sunday is you buy yourself another week or two to let John Brooks get as close to 100% as he's healthy. I think Chuba Hubbard, and you add John Brooks to that backfield, not just running the ball out of it, but Rashad Beard, you let Bryce Young have a pass-catching weapon like John Brooks paired up with Chuba Hubbard. I think there's still another level to this offense that you guys can hit.
Yeah, for sure. I think Jonathan Brooks is going to add a completely different dimension. When you talk about what Miles Sanders is doing out of the backfield from a receiving standpoint, I believe that Jonathan Brooks can match that and do it even better. And so give me Jonathan Brooks. I hope he gets activated. I think his window is going to close if we don't activate him soon. So if we don't activate him in his activation window, then he's going to have to sit the rest of the season. Either way, it's going to be good to get him on the field, even if it's not until next year. I believe that was a play that we were prepared for when we drafted him. So this is a guy that we knew we were going to have to wait for. We knew we were going to have to wait to see it. And I'm excited for Jonathan Brooks. Can't wait to see it again. That double trouble aspect could be back here in Carolina, and it's going to do nothing but support Bryce Young, and I love it.
All right, Jeff popped into the chat. He said, Bryce Young can't even throw an accurate deep ball pass. I have absolutely no expectations for this team. Just watching and reminiscing about the time we were respected. I'm going to just let you react to that one, Rashad.
I mean, it's fun to say, but it's cap, right? He was dropping dimes out there, and nobody talks about all the drop passes that occurred. And I don't like it, bro. People just don't like Bryce Young, and that's okay. It's okay to not like Bryce Young, but let's not spew misinformation. Bryce can throw the football. Is he a little accurate? He's not perfect, right? Nobody's going to be accurate 100% throwing the football deep. That's going to take reps. That's why you need to let him play. That's why he needs to be out there day in or week in and week out. When you're not out there, you can't develop that chemistry. You know what I mean? So the more opportunity he has, the better he's going to get. He can throw the football. He's just fine. Let him get out there. Let him get those reps, and he can do this. He can play.
Tony chaps in, says, Canales doesn't know how to use Bryce. Look, the only response I got to that, Rashad, and I want yours is, if Dave Canales doesn't know how to use Bryce Young, that's the reason Dave Canales is here. Now, if he wants to come in and go, hey, I worked with Bryce and I've just reached the conclusion that he ain't my guy, he doesn't have it, he ain't an NFL quality player, whatever, that's one thing. But the whole don't know how to use him thing, when that's the reason Canales got hired, that would create some concern for me if it's true, which I don't think it is. But if it was, that's a problem.
Yeah, I do question some of Canales' play calling, right? I'm up in the stands, like punching the seat in front of me in some of the plays that are called. They're just mind-boggling when you don't throw the football to the sticks, or you throw the football behind the line of scrimmage on like 3rd and 2, or it's 4th down and you try to throw the football. We just have these weird short yardage situations where Canales cannot get it figured out. So do we got to get better there? Yes. And I think Canales, again, this is his first time being a head coach and calling a play. So we got to give him a little bit of grace. Is he overthinking things at time? Yes. But I'm going to give him a little bit of grace. Again, coming off the W, I'm not going to nitpick, man. Listen, I got the W. We can complain about other things later. Right now, we're going to live in this moment. It's Victory Monday, and we're gonna victory lap beating the Saints. So everything else right now, listen, we shouldn't be complaining. We can't complain when it's win number 2 over the division rival New Orleans Saints. What's to complain about? Let's talk about dubs instead of complaining.
All right, I respect it. I also think you got to talk about what went wrong so it can get better, right? Like, this is a fight, Lonzo, and I've had many times. When I come in here on Mondays, I am focusing on the negative because you can't fix what went right. You can only fix what went wrong. So let me give the other spot of concern that I had. Wide receivers. Because you brought it up a second ago. Lots of drops on deep balls. I think Leggett may have been a little bit messed up when he got that ball taken away from him. I also think it was one of the best defensive plays I've seen a player make in the NFL this year. You got to give credit to an undrafted rookie DB who made that play. But when you let Deontay go, as you said, when you paid Baltimore to take him off the books for you, I came into this year saying, I love Xavier Leggett. I think Jalen Coker, and he showed it again. Coker can be a dude. I'm all in, but it is a wide receiver group that needs that depth, needs those reps, needs to get better. I think as they become more reliable, inherently Bryce Young's going to start to have better numbers that make him look reliable. And the more that happens, the more I think Canales can open the playbook a little bit more. Rashad, I think it's all connected, man. And I think it all kind of hovers on growing up those wide receivers and that quarterback. And the more they develop, the better I think that offense looks. You add John Brooks to that mix. I told you this last week. I see hope for your team. My team is cheeks, and we're going to be that way for a minute because we done screwed ourselves. You guys, I can see the hope and the optimism for, and I'm being serious when I say that.
Yeah, no, I think that the young wide receivers, again, everybody on this roster is young, right? Bryce Young is young. Right, people forget that it's only year 2 for him, and then you got Leggett, who we just drafted, Jalen Coker, who is trending up. Where we know this is the Coker crew. I'm a self-proclaimed leader of the Coker crew. Okay, and I'm
thank you for
excited.
Not going with the Coke heads because that's where I was. That's where I stopped myself from going.
All right, you might need that a little bit later.
Damn, dude.
Yeah, but listen, these guys are young, right? These guys are young. And I agree with those guys developing that synergy, things are going to get better. And one guy you did not mention was Ja'Tavion Sanders, who also is coming along mighty nicely. And so this team, if we can keep this young group together, this is why it's important to play Bryce Young. This is why we can get that chemistry together. And yeah, it's not perfect. XL gets the ball taken from him, but he also had a touchdown reception. So things we got to see Dollar Bill. We're getting to see Dollar Bill like every week, and that's good. That's a good thing. He's a solid red zone threat, and I love XL, and all these guys are starting to develop and come into their own. It's going to take a little bit of time. So you're right. Things are trending upward. We just got to take the baby wins. It's not perfect. No, it's not. But week by week, we're getting better and better, and I like it.
You said something in the post-game stream that you guys did, you and Dave did on Sunday that I was listening to that I really liked. You pointed out that when the Saints were in their window, we out of it. All right, we have officially slammed the window on our own junk. You said the reason, and I agree with this wholeheartedly. You said the reason the Saints were able to do what they did was because they drafted so well that they had a lot of young guys that kept the cap low so that they could go invest in the older players, the Demario Davises at the time, who were able to play there. Nailing the draft to me is the most important aspect of running a successful football team, because you got to have that blend of young rooks on cheap contracts, guys that are finding their way, and vets who can be the leadership, whatever. The more I look at it, dude, I think you guys killed this draft. And I told you this because we were standing there at the bar when Sanders had that big run where he made my defense look like a bunch of morons. I said to you, I think JT Sanders is a diamond in the rough. In the rough. I think John Brooks is going to prove to be a steal when he gets healthy, and XL is shaping up to be the guy you thought he was. I think you guys nailed this draft. And if that's true, that's 4 years where you got 3, 4, 5 real good players on young contracts. Guess what you can afford to do now, Rashad Beard, is go find some of those vets that now might be a little bit more interested in coming down. This is why I keep saying the silver lining is for real with the Carolina Panthers right now.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. When you go back and look at what the Saints did when they drafted Kamara and Lattimore, no, I don't recall the draft, but that was one of the best drafts of all time, right? You knocked it out the park with that draft, which allowed you to build that roster. And now the Carolina Panthers, the people are indifferent on Dan Morgan. You got some people that don't like him, some people that do, but you can't question that this draft has the potential to be one of the best. You know what I mean? You talk about JT Sanders, you talk about XL, you talk about Jonathan Brooks and his potential, and then you didn't mention Trevin Wallace, who is playing. He got kind of thrown in there pretty quickly here with the Shaq Thompson injury. So with him playing well, this draft class could be the start of something. And if you can compound that with another very good draft, that's when things start to turn around. But you have got, and again, the Panthers, their cap situation is not the best. Right. So you have got to knock each of these drafts for the next couple years out of the park to kind of get out of the cap situation and start to kind of allow yourself to bring in some good vets. So we're not out the woods yet, but this last draft class was a great start.
Yeah, and I think you nailed it there. That draft was 2017. Lattimore, Ryan Ramczyk, Pro Bowler multiple times. Marcus Williams, Pro Bowler a couple of times. Kamara was in the 3rd round. Alex Anzalone, who is still balling out right now. Trey Hendrickson, who had a couple of good years right at the start of the career. Like, you're right, that draft, and then you turn around 2 years later, the Saints are playing in an NFC championship game that they should have won. I mean, it's right there. Yep. So Rashad Beard hosts the Panther Nation podcast. You can find him on Twitter at Panther Nation PC, but make sure you go to the YouTube channel, click follow, and hit that bell so you know when they go live, which is all the time. What's the schedule from Europe this week?
Man, I'm flying.
You gonna make it up as you go?
Yeah. I'm flying out on Wednesday. Got a pit stop in the UK for a little bit, and then I'm going to Germany, and from there, I don't know what's going on. We got some PNP listeners over there, so I may link up with them. Probably go live a couple times, but I have no idea. We're gonna wing it when we get there because I don't know what to expect. Just kind of having fun.
Come on.
Hell yeah.
He's been to Europe before. We know.
Well,
we know.
I have, but I haven't been to Germany though. I haven't been to Germany as an adult.
Usually he's wearing like a black suit and gloves when he goes.
Yeah, he is.
This ain't a business trip. This is a pleasure trip. I respect it. I respect it.
Facts.
Rashad, my man, it was good to see you yesterday. As always, big dog. I appreciate it. Let's do it again. Well, yeah, you'll be back next week, right?
Yeah, I'll be back on Monday, so we'll be right back at it, hopefully with another W, so I can talk some more stuff. Now, I got to admit, the schedule does get a little tougher after the Giants game, so we'll see if we can stack it together and see what happens.
Rashad Beard of the Panther Nation podcast joins us every Thursday at 8:40, but he's going to Europe, so he joined us this week at 9 o'clock. We'll run it back for you on Thursday for the folks that miss it. My man, be safe over in Europe, brother. We'll talk with you when you get back.
Absolutely. I appreciate you guys.
Always. I was going to say who dat, but I can't.
You can't.
Everything sucks, and I hate my football team. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Golly.
Man, Rashad just jumped out quick, didn't he?
He's got packing and all kinds of crap he's got to do to. I talked to him a little bit yesterday after the game. He got on the stream. I should have brought it up. He was lit with a capital L on the stream yesterday.
Good.
Lit. Rashad enjoyed the game quite a bit.
Oh, okay.
Enjoyed the game quite a bit.
I thought you meant that he was just excited.
No,
about
I
the
mean, he
victory.
was, but also lit with a capital L. I respect it. All right, big break, kids. I'm going to hit the restroom. Be right back.
He did, Steven. As soon as all the people popped in, then he had no more ammo and he was gone. Or like everyone said, it was time to go to school or something like that. Yeah. Or his mom needed his laptop.
Fortnite. Dude has the processing power of a nano iPad is a wonderful burn. Wonderful burn.
Wait a minute. Holiday light show. Is it time for that already?
There was a video of this guy in a park. I don't know where it came from. It popped up on my Instagram last night. There's a Christmas tree put up a park, and this guy is just yelling at it. He's like, "It's too early. It is November 3rd. What are we doing?" Like, pop. It was hilarious. There are some of those videos that are so funny that I'm like, I don't care if it's staged. It's still funny. And this was one of them.
Like the Hallmark Channel is doing 24-hour Christmas movies now. Yeah. My wife watched like 3 or 4 yesterday. So, I mean,
I'll catch Courtney watching one this week. We're putting up a live tree because we'll be here for Christmas, but she put up the artificial tree yesterday. I was like, "Why'd you put that up? We're getting a real tree." And she goes, "I'm just ready for it." And I was like, "All right. I mean, cool." I wasn't going to talk about it, but now we had the conversation during the break on the live stream, facebook.com/thefanupstate, the Fan Upstate on YouTube, the Rob Brown Show on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. We are live all 4 hours, all 5 days a week. Come join in on the fun tomfoolery and shenanigans on the daily. And hey, while I'm talking about it, don't forget the Ray Memorial text line is open for you. Go to the Odyssey app, AUDACY. Go to the Fan Upstate page. click on the Fan Upstate page, and in the middle of the Fan Upstate page, you will see a little microphone button. You click on that little microphone button, and you can leave a 60-second voice note that comes directly to Lonzo and I. It is the Ray Memorial Hotline, available only on the Fan Upstate page on the Odyssey app. Use it at your discretion anytime, day or night, 365 days a year, regardless of your mental capacity.
Hey, Emery, please use it so I can talk like this.
Emery had to leave the stream because he had to go play Fortnite, I assume. All right.
You never win at that game, by the way. It just continues on. There's no, you don't win.
There are two things. I'm not going to fight you on that because I love a good battle royal game, just not that one. There are two things I want to get to in this segment here. One of them football related, one not. I'm going to start with the not football related thing. It is November 4th. It is too damn early for Christmas stuff to be out. Okay? I'm sorry. For those of you that are, it's November 1st, Halloween's over. No, it's not. It's November 4th. All right. We are still almost an entire month away from Thanksgiving, which is an entire month before Christmas. We are damn near 2 months out. Could you imagine is there any other holiday? Could you imagine walking into a store on January 1st and they got Valentine's Day decorations out?
Actually, I think they do. I think they do.
Ugh. We don't do that. Listen, I'm gonna tell you right now, if we're good with doing that, that's fine. That's fine. My Halloween decorations, if we're doing that, my Halloween decorations next year are coming out August 1st.
See, here's the
August 1st. My 12-foot skeleton, August 1st.
I don't blame the stores for doing it. It bothers me a little bit, but at the same time, if consumers are buying the product, you put the product out there so the consumers can buy the product. Or are they only buying it because you're putting it out there and maybe I don't know.
Here's the thing, and I want to be very clear about this. I love Christmas. I love Christmas. I'm a Christmas fiend. I love the holiday season. I love all the warm fuzzies. I spent yesterday learning to surprise the lady, which I'm going to ruin it now, but I doubt she's listening, to learning how to take a big outdoor planter pot and turn it into a big hot cocoa decoration. And I'm going to do that for her because I love Christmas and I know she's going to love it.
What the heck's a hot cocoa decoration?
Like you turn a big outdoor planter and make it look like a coffee mug full of hot cocoa.
Okay.
Right?
All right. But what's on the inside? What do
you put a little cardboard thing and you spray paint it brown so it looks like cocoa. And then you take big styrofoam things and you cut them into marshmallow shapes. And you take a pool noodle and spray paint it red so it looks like a straw, like that kind of stuff.
Wow. You really did put some research into that.
I'm an Etsy fiend. I'm a Pinterest fiend. For Christmas. I'm a big Christmas guy, but my man, it is November 4th. Now, put that aside. The second thing that I want to go to. Second thing I'm going to get to. James Franklin. Can we talk about James Franklin for a minute?
He's disgruntled. That's
to put it lightly.
Yeah. He's a little angry. He's a little hurt.
For James
Franklin,
Franklin,
maybe, depending on how you look at it, I suppose.
I mean, he got his butt hit and kicked and otherwise roasted, all right, including by fans. As Glenn Fry once said in a legendary solo career, the heat is on. The heat is on for James Franklin. Because James Franklin can't win football games. He
can win games. He just can't win the big game.
Can't win important games.
Yeah.
Can't win important games. I looked up the number earlier because I was very curious. And of course I closed it, so I'm gonna pull it back up.
By the way, disappointed in I guess that was a whiteout Saturday. I mean, it just didn't seem. I mean, when they showed the crowd, there was a lot of white, and then there was a section of just scarlet and gray, like up the middle.
I did see that. Also, I want it known that I asked multiple people this weekend. No reason for that game to be played at noon. None at all. That game should have been a 7:30 kickoff at night. Would have been so much better. But put that aside because Lonzo and I are going to fight about that again. Night games are better. They're just inherently better.
Unless you're a player and you got to wait all day.
Oh, God, we have to wait all day with people waiting on us hand, us foot, and serving us catered meals all day. It's a miserable existence with everyone in the world doing everything they can to make me as comfortable and happy as I can. What an awful way to spend a Saturday.
Really?
Awful.
Really?
Miserable.
You went there? I mean, Mr. I'm for the player. I support the player. I'm a player guy. And you just kind of.
Quick, find me one example of a player who's like, I love noon games. They're better. The only players who feel that way are players playing in an away game at a place like Penn State. That's it. The games are better on television when they are night games. But put that to the side for a second. James Franklin. Let's start with James Franklin against top 5 opponents. Excuse me, top 10 opponents. Against top 10 opponents, James Franklin has played 20 games, Lonzo. 20 games against top 10. Quick question. What would you say for a coach at a school as prestigious as Pennsylvania State University with 20 top 25 or top 10 games? What would you say is an acceptable win-loss record in 20 games?
What, for Penn State?
Yeah.
18-2.
I mean, 18-2 would be wonderful.
Yes.
15-5 would be solid.
Eh.
Okay. 12-8, I would even say maybe acceptable because you got Ohio State mixed in there every year, Michigan mixed in every year. I'd say 12-8 would be.
You said 20 games. That's like a year and a half.
He's 3-17 against top 10 teams at Penn State. 3-17. He is 4-16 against Michigan and Ohio State all time. 4-16 against 3-17 against top 10 teams that aren't Michigan and Ohio State, by the way. 3-17. He is 12. Okay, here's another one. Against top 25 teams, he's played 37 games against top 25 teams. I would like to point out that if you look at the top 25, there are teams in the top 25 like Louisville, Vanderbilt, Pitt, Kansas State, Colorado, Washington State. These are bottom top 25 teams. Against top 25 teams, he's played 37 games, not including Michigan, Ohio State. Lonzo, how many of 37 top 25 games would you say that he would need to win to have an acceptable record? Acceptable, not excellent, acceptable. 37 games against top 20. How many?
37 games.
Yep, against top 25 teams.
25.
He's 12-25. He has as many losses as you think he should have wins to be acceptable. That's how many losses he has, 12-25. Now, all that being said, here's the best part. James Franklin lost the plot because after this game was over, a game that, yeah, I will acknowledge Ohio State's defensive backs got a lot of calls in this game. But put that aside. Still a winnable game. They didn't figure it out. They blew it at the end. Now, all that being said.
What's their record, Rob?
They have a loss.
Right.
But they can.
They were undefeated coming into this game, and they're now 7-1.
We're gonna pretend like that's okay that he's 3-17 against top 10 opponents. 3-7. If Ryan Day was 3-17, Lonzo, you'd be in a bus on the way to Columbus to fight him right now.
His record was not much better against. No,
for the record, I want to know.
They put them up against each other before the broadcast as far as big wins, and Ryan Day not up there.
If I was an Ohio State fan, I'd want James Franklin defended too. Keep this man around as long as I can because it's a freebie every year, even for Ryan Day. All right, but that's not where James Franklin lost the plot.
It's not a blowout by any means. So.
Doesn't matter. You beat his ass every time you play Penn State. I'd want him there forever as well. Just like I'm sure Florida fans right now are defending Mike Norvell to the death. I would too. All right? Matt Brown, by the way, just like I said he would, beat Florida State for the first time ever. Here's where he lost the plot. After the game was over, a young fan, when I say young, I'm talking like 16, 17 years old, was yelling at the team leaving. James Franklin walked over and was like, "What's your name? Be a man. Tell me what your name is." I'm like, what are you going to do? Call his parents? Report him to Penn State. This student was being very, very mean to me. Stop it. But that's not even the worst. I mean, it is the worst part, but it's not even the worst part. The worst part is Penn State has a victory bell. They only ring it when they win. After he got done verbally confronting a 17-ish-year-old child on the sideline, James Franklin walked over and rang the victory bell. I don't know if anybody told James Franklin, but they didn't do a victory. They did the opposite of a victory, and he went over and rang the sacred victory bell for not a victory after getting into it with a 17-year-old Penn State fan. I'll tell you right now, James Franklin and Dennis Allen need to be sharing a pink slip therapy session now, today. It's got to end.
So you're saying he should be fired?
Yes.
7-1, and he should be fired.
3-17 against teams that
Don't ever
matter.
say anything when I say something about Ryan Day after losing to Michigan.
Oh, I've walked it back. I'm like, I get it now. James, at least Ohio State has beat some damn ranked teams. He's 3-17 against top 10 teams. That's unacceptable. So is unacceptable me being this late to a break. Back after this.
Yeah, just because he ain't here doesn't mean he ain't listening.
The moral victory bell. He said he won against the 7. No, Mac, tell me that's a joke.
He's joking.
Tell me that's a
He's
joke.
joking. You just want to believe that.
I absolutely do believe it, for the record. I believe that's something James Franklin's rear end would say. I did see that, Zach, and I'm going to tell you right now, that kid FA'd and then FO. In what world do you walk up to a 1-year retire, not even a full year retired? That man been retired for 8 months. How you walk up to a man that could get on the playing field today, drop that slur about the man's family member, and think you're not catching some smoke?
Will he be on the broadcast tonight?
Absolutely. They're not going to admonish him for that.
We'll see. We'll see.
They're not going to admonish him for that.
Did you see that he replied with the same word and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, but he did. He
Yeah,
did it.
No. But we'll see.
Yeah. No, he'll absolutely be there tonight. I see no world.
They
in
have
which,
built them up to a certain degree. It's time to start tearing them down, and because that's what people like. So we'll see what happens.
Nah. I don't think Jason Kelsey comes out of this in anything but a glowing light.
Well, I think some people would call that vandalism or destruction of property. He did break the guy's phone, right?
You walk up and you scream a slur of that nature into somebody's face, they're going to get off the hook for it. There's not a hook to get off of. It's fine. I said on Saturday, we should institute a rule in America that if you get punched in the face, there's a survey taken of everyone who saw it, and if more than 65% of the people believe you deserved it, the puncher's off the hook.
Yeah, but in some cases, there are people who walk in who have a look on their face and you think they should be punched in the face, and they don't do anything. They just have a punchable face.
65% of the people have to say you deserve it.
Well, 65% of the people may go, yeah, that dude, he needs to get punched.
That way, when Dennis Allen gets off the bus in New Orleans, he gets punched, and there's a 90% approval rate. I'm not saying anyone should punch head coaches for being bad at their job. I'm just saying he should be fired immediately and never walk into an NFL stadium ever again. That's all I'm saying. Oh, God. I'm scrolling Twitter, and Brad Crawford just pointed out that Boise State running back Ashton Jeanty has outscored Florida State by himself this year. Phenomenal. Phenomenal. Yeah, this is it, Joey B. Gen Z has grown up not facing consequences for saying things. They live behind the anonymity of a screen.
But he also he goaded someone who's rich into making a mistake by breaking the phone, and a lawsuit's probably on its way.
I don't think there's any world that Jason Kelce loses that lawsuit. And if he does, the judge says, fine, you got to pay for the phone. And Jason Kelce pulls out $100 and says, bye.
Yeah, I'm sure the phone costs more than that. Have you seen how expensive phones really are? Yeah, I mean, but still.
You get my point.
Yeah, no, I do.
He's not winning a multi-million-dollar lawsuit against Jason Kelce for calling his brother a
By the way,
a homophobic slur.
I understand Jason's reaction because he's the definition of toxic masculinity in some ways.
Jason Kelce?
Oh, for sure.
No, he's absolutely not.
And when it comes to defending his family,
No.
absolutely.
No. That's not toxic masculinity. That's just masculinity.
I didn't mean to trigger you.
I think
you're
there's
triggered.
a lot of people who throw around the concept.
His eyes are being really shifty behind those glasses. You just
no,
can't
because
see
I
it.
want to make sure that I do that when I want to make sure that I am very clear about what I'm saying.
What,
there are a
talking
lot of
slowly
people,
so I'll understand.
There are a lot of, no, not you, everyone. There are a lot of people who hear the words toxic masculinity and they think that any form of masculinity is labeled by the woke as toxic there is no one who thinks that standing up for your family is toxic masculinity. That's not what that phrase means. Which is why the majority of people are fully in support of Jason Kelce right now. Texas said, honestly, James Franklin's team screwed him with some terrible penalties. I agree. And I would also say, if your team gets a bunch of, quote, terrible penalties, do you know who is responsible for that? Right? Am I right? You get it. You know ball. You know ball, Texter. You know who is responsible if the team is committing a bunch of bad penalties, who that comes back on, right? And just so we're clear, so I'm keeping it a buck with you. Remember when a very good defensive end down in Columbia, South Carolina got a really dumb penalty in a pivotal moment against Ole Miss? Who did I pin that on? Shane Beamer. Now, BMO ball has kind of saved that a little bit if we're keeping it a buck. But that's who it goes on. It's all on James Franklin.
Good to see the dancing back a little bit too down in Carolina.
I'm not gonna lie. I had a really good time watching the Selly. Real good time watching the Selly. All right. Well, since we're here, we got a couple of minutes here. I'd like to play you two clips back to back. And I would like you to listen to the first minute and a half of Dabo Swinney's presser, and then the first minute or so of Shane Beamer's presser. And let's see if we can hear a tonal difference. Here's how Dabo's press conference started.
That has been brewing, even though y'all have done well the previous 3 games. There was the issue with setting the edge and some missed tackles coming before that.
Yep.
Before tonight.
Saw some of those same things that's hurt us, and so it's my job to get it better. I didn't do it.
Is Louisville doing anything different defensively than what you saw on film?
Nope.
What would you attribute the offensive struggles to in the second and third quarter?
Penalties, misplays, miss block or two. We had a couple of missed blocks up front. We had one on the outside that put us behind the chains, and that's really it. Just not a lot of rhythm. That's really the biggest thing.
I guess what might get lost in the shuffle is that Phil was really awesome tonight.
Yeah, man, he's just a workhorse. I don't know what he ended up with, but he was what Phil have. He rushed for 170 yards. He's just a workhorse. Just an amazing competitor. Again, I had to look again. We had 31 first downs. 101 plays. So again, that's the credit to our guys. Competing and not quitting. And
okay. Lonzo pointed out when I played a little bit of that clip back in the first hour that this is the first time, even in a loss, that there was just nothing there out of Dabo. He was defeated in that moment. And you could tell. Like, I apologize for going full psychoanalyst on this. But he sounds entirely defeated. There is no optimism. In fact, I will even say this, and I'll tell you what made it worse for me. That last minute there was like, ran for 107. We had 31 first downs. And Dabo Swinney does this thing in his press conferences that I've picked up. I don't think I want to say I picked up on it like I'm sort of super genius. Anybody who listens to his press conferences knows that Dabo does this, and I get it. Anytime that there's a line of questioning that is uncomfortable, he dives immediately into numbers, right? Like immediately into stats. Again, I've given him credit all the time. Mark Ryan had that legendary line of stats are like bikinis, right? They show you a lot, but not everything. And I think he's spot on about that. Every time that there has been a hard conversation or a line of questioning Dabo Swinney doesn't like, he dives into numbers. And I think he utilizes them to cover up. Yes, you had 30-plus first downs, and you ran 100 plays, and that's all well and good. You got your asses beat. So that doesn't do anything. This is the first time, and I the point that I'm making is I think Dabo diving into those numbers kind of brought to the surface, kind of brought to light just what sounded like a miserable head coach in that moment. And I get it. You got whooped by a team you were supposed to beat by a couple of tutties. Not a great look. But, man, that's the first lost press conference out of Dabo Swinney that I heard, and there's just no light.
I think he also realizes that their chances of making the playoff is gone.
Not gone. They're still in inside track, but they need help. Their fate is not their own anymore.
Other people have to lose, and they have to win.
Yeah, their fate is not their own. Now, in contrasting comparison, here's how Shane Beamer started.
Sorry to keep you waiting. Obviously, we had a elite celebration in the locker room once we were able to get everyone off the field as well. Where to begin? First of all, thank you to our fans. I'm so happy for them. They showed up, obviously, tonight, but they showed up early in the year for LSU at noon. They showed up at Ole Miss for 3:30, and we weren't able to finish and get them the win they deserve, but they showed up tonight like we knew they would as well. They did all week leading up to this thing, and that place was rocking.
That sounds like a dude who's enjoying himself. And he was. Have you seen the locker room videos? They're incredible. He had the team sing like an R&B sensation song. I don't know what it is because I'm almost 40 years old. And I'm not in touch with
I sent that to you because I was hoping you'd be able to tell me that you knew what that song was.
I don't know what the song is. Yeah. All I know is the boys were hyped to sing that song to Mrs. Shane Beamer. She got a whole locker room serenade. It was absolutely incredible. With Shane, by the way, hitting the grooves in between the players. I was having a ball watching the post-game celly of the South Carolina Gamecocks. This is why I said South Carolina's win over A&M was a program-defining moment. Clemson's loss to Louisville was a program-defining moment. I heard elation from Shane, and for the first time as long as I've been here, I heard Dabo sound defeated.
Rob Brown Show presents Twitter.
I'm pretty good at this.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. Time to end the show, as we always do with What the X, where I tell Rob what's Xing, and he will tell us why. I almost thought you were yeeting there for a second. All right, the first thing that's Xing is Quincy Jones.
Quincy Jones passing away at, 91 years of age. Quincy Jones passing away last night, I think. I didn't see exactly when, but absolute icon, man. Icon in the game. I don't know what to say. Like there's every now and then a musician passes that the entire music world shows up to mourn, to discuss, to talk about it. And Quincy Jones very much on this list. That man had Bigger, scores and soundtracks forever.
I was going to say Bigger as a producer, including, if I recall, Thriller was one of his really big ones.
Yep.
And,
Walk Don't Run. In the Heat of the Night, like he had some also wrote just for the lulz, wrote you ever seen The Italian Job, but like the old one, the OG one? It's one of my favorite old movies from like the 1960s. Love the original Italian Job. He wrote the music for it.
I've seen it, but it was so long ago I don't remember it.
Oh, it's from like the late 60s. It was a phenomenal. Yeah, you got to dig it.
All right, the next thing rather that's Xing is Matt Eberflus.
Matt Eberflus decided at the end of the Chicago Bears game that he was getting his hearse handed to him by the Arizona Cardinals, who are good now, by the way, apparently, 29-9 the final score. You're inside of 2 minutes left to play, and he sends rookie Caleb Williams back out there to play for no good or discernible reason. And on the very last play of the game, Caleb Williams gets tackled and gator rolled, injures his ankle, has to limp off of the football field. And now there's questions about whether Caleb Williams will be available because he went out there to play 2 minutes in a game they were down 20 points. Ladies and gentlemen, the stench of Matt Eberflus continues to fester around the Windy City.
That was a great phrase.
I know.
That entire sentence was. I'm so glad.
I'm very good at this.
I'm glad I was there for that. All right, the next thing that's Xing is Randy Orton.
I hear voices in my head. They talk to me. They understand. I have not gotten to Crown Jewel yet. What I understand is that Kevin Owens caused a hell of a lot of chaos on that show, and I'm assuming Randy Orton had some role in that.
Yeah, well, the match never happened because it was just a brawl. KO actually he stunned a referee, and also before the match happened, he talked about how he and I think it was Kathy Kelly were in an accident. They were in a dune buggy and it rolled over several times, and he blamed it on possibly either Randy Orton or Cody Rhodes trying to have them killed. And then he talked about it after too.
I'm a KO guy. You know what I want more than anything in this is because it's one of these roles where the bad guy is right. I want Kevin Owens as the face, predominantly because I want burn Bray Wyatt's house down Randy Orton back. I want psychopath Randy Orton back. So make KO the face, who is absolutely right, even if he's going too far, and bring back Psycho the Viper.
Yeah, I just go watch those 2 videos of KO. It's great. All right, and finally, Joe Flacco is Xing.
Joe Flacco did not get the dub in replacement of Anthony Richardson, the 4th overall pick, who tapped out of the game last week.
Apparently was yawning on the sideline, and people were making a big deal.
He is finding genuine ways to make himself look like booty cheeks.
If you ain't
lately.
playing, I mean,
no,
you're
come
sleepy.
on, dude. Come on.
All right, so every time I yawn on screen, because I got up at 4 a.m. I'm sorry. I just, and I'm
well, that's a good reason.
Yeah, I doubt that. Yeah.
Anthony Richardson has people waiting on him hand and foot all game day long. You should be plenty well rested by the time you show up to not play in a game, bud. Real bad look for you, AR4.
But Flacco was not the solution, apparently.
No. He's 40 years old, 40 plus years old. What do you think he's going to do? I got winded walking up the stairs this morning. Come on now. That's it for our show. Have a great rest of your day. Do not drink and drive. I will punch you directly in the face. I hope you all have a spectacular rest of your day, and we will see you back here tomorrow to do it all over again, but better on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Later!
I was waiting for you to play something.
I pushed it and it didn't fire
Yeah,
because
it was up.
For some reason, my soundboard, when I change, not all the time, like once a week, when I change it from USB to speakers so that I can edit audio while we're in here and then change it back, the soundboard won't recognize the switch back and it gets stuck. That happens rarely, but not always. Thank you very much, Steven. I'm not super concerned about what Emery said because on Friday, money is going to go into my bank account.
Yeah, if we were concerned, we would have just blocked them.
Yeah, I'm not. Take all the attention I can get. However, I do have to split. So, I hope you all have a spectacular day. Clemson fans, I hope your day gets better. Joey B, hang in there. Text me if you need to talk to somebody. Gunther v. Cody was good, and Bloodline and J. Jimmy Roman was a shocker. Just saying. Yeah, I got to get to that. The problem I have is that I changed up my routine. We didn't do the audio blitz today, but I've changed up my routine to come in and record all my sound in the morning and edit it and get it in. And that used to be my wrestling watching time. So now I have to find time for it later in the day or do a worse job at my job to still be able to watch wrestling, which I'm not saying.
Well, according to Emery, you're just doing a poo job anyway.
That's true. I am.
mean,
he's not wrong. He's not wrong. All right, guys, you're all spectacular people. Thank you for being here. Have a lovely rest of your day. Tell your friends about us. Help us grow the show. We want to be famous. Saints suck. Goodbye.
You and Joe just going to go